All right. We're excited to be joined by Prime Minister of Nyx, right? The Empire of Nyx, or Kingdom of Nyx.
Queendom.
Okay, Queendom. Sorry.
Oh, we're good.
All right. So I'm just going to go through.
Not not a lot of us around. Probably the only one.
Yep. I just have 12 questions. Um, I'm going to go through and read those off, and I may ask a few, you know, branching questions, and then I like to ask people a little bit about like their empire, like their nation, to try to kind of challenge their beliefs, not to antagonize or anything, but just to kind of be the devil's advocate for a second, to just kind of see where your mind is at with it. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So I guess we'll start with first question. The Queendom of Nyx began its community on September 21st, 2017, as a small nation within the United States, right?
That's correct.
What sparked the creation of Nyx at the time, and what was the original mission or vision you had in mind when you founded the micronation?
Well, when we first started the nation building project, it was during, believe it or not, the idea came when we were in high school, and then about 4 years after high school, or 3 years after high school is when we founded a nation. And the reason for the idea is because we were sick of the American politics in general. We were just because we were seeing it amongst our own families and communities, even as kids, of what government in general is doing. Even like the smallest things, and the smallest things makes the biggest difference in big cities and small ones. So, and well, since we got tired of it, that's when also not just that. See, that was the main reason, but what inspired us to go this way was actually when I was in high school, I discovered, like, I was a teacher's pet at the time. I was a senior, and I was messing around on a computer and discovered the Principality of Sealand. And I was researching them, and it's like they can do that. So that's basically how I started. That's how I was inspired to make the nation building project, was Principality of Sealand, and and then and then combine that with the reasonings I just mentioned. Me, the Queen, and one of our ministers of the court founded the Queendom of Nyx at that time. So
Very nice.
that's what. Yep.
Yeah, from what I hear, a lot of people have that same story of being introduced by the Principality of Sealand or even Molossia. That's what I hear a lot of people say. So it's very nice to hear that you have a similar story.
Oh yeah.
So,
Especially Sealand, because I'm not gonna diss Malazia, but I do have opinions on Malazia. Comparing both Malazia and Sealand, I would prefer the inspiration to come from Sealand than
oh,
Malazia.
of course.
Malazia is good in their own ways, but I just don't agree in the ways that they're doing it. So I prefer to, if people are gonna look for a better inspiration, there's only a very small few nations that I would refer to, and one of them would definitely be Sealand. So, but, not this in Malaysia. That Malaysia
No,
is fine. It's just
and
I just don't agree with their things.
I feel like it shows kind of like the divide within the micronation community. There's Sealand, which is uh, more of a realistic kind of setup, whereas Molossia is more along the hobbyist side of the community.
Yeah, and there's no problem with that at all. It's just because Malaysia has definitely made himself known, definitely as a tourist attraction, which is not a bad thing. Um, because you can actually find, I think you can. I think you can still. You can find Malaysia actually on Google Maps. It'll actually say Malaysia on there, so he's on Google Maps. Um, on Google Maps, but he's definitely made himself known and as a tourist attraction. But at the same time, there's not a lot of, it's like if you're nation building, there's not a lot of progress behind it It's just it's definitely like a hobbyist thing, yeah. Like you said, it's definitely a hobbyist thing where like he'll call his the toy rocket the space station or space program, the toy railroad, which I love trains by the way, regardless if it's a toy or real one. It's got a toy train railroad going around his thing. That's pretty cool. I actually like that. I used to own one. So not hating that one, but I just wouldn't call it any I just wouldn't call it a realistic I just wouldn't call it a realistic program if he was legitimately nation building, which I don't know because I've only looked him up for a little bit and saw the some of his videos and didn't agree with a lot of things he was using for all the things in his nation. And with his policy of making his nation family only, it's like, yep, see, not a bad thing. I'm just saying that okay, see, yeah, he's definitely doing it as a hobby. Nothing wrong with that. Let him do him. Not gonna diss him on that. So don't agree with a lot of it.
I definitely share your sentiment.
Yeah.
So, next question. Nyx is described as a hybrid monarchy, where the
Yes.
crown holds supreme authority but is guided by noble council and citizen voices united in a royal court. How does
Hmm.
this unique government structure function in practice? For instance, what does bodies like the Nocturnal Parliament and the Court of Themis, right? Themis? Um,
Yes. After the Titan goddess of justice and law.
okay.
So
Um,
yep.
the Nocturnal Parliament and the Court of Themis play under Queen
Breckenridge.
Breckenridge, the first rule.
Hmm.
And what
Yep.
inspired you to merge traditional legislative, executive, and judicial powers into one supreme branch of government?
Yeah, so glad you asked that question. At least someone did. The reason why we had to go with that is because when we first started, we did start out with a monarchy. And then it's like, well, even though we're a monarchy, it feels right to have a constitution, so let's be a constitutional one. It's like, okay. So we get a constitution, and then, well, instead of going the original way we were going, which is towards more a Greek theme, we ended up without realizing it, we ended up trying to be more like America than what we originally planned. So we started going a little bit democratic. And well, even though there's nothing wrong with being democratic, it's just how many dedicated people are going to be involved in that democratic process. So, and we have many citizens that, surprisingly enough, actually do get themselves involved in the democratic process. But what do I have to do in the democratic process? I have to be the one to hand out the ballots for like elections and referendums on some things and all that stuff. And some people will see it, some people will not, and some people will vote, some people will not vote. Because and the reason for that is because since our community is not as big, people do not see a benefit behind what they're voting for. So we had to end up ditching our House of Representatives plan, which I kind of feel bad because we actually worked very hard on making a very good House of Representatives, which is fine. We started with a unicameral, and then we changed it to House of Representatives, and we switched to National Assembly, and then we finally gave up on National Assembly and just went with a more centralized control, but with an advisory. So the Nocturnal Parliament, um, is the advisory parliament to the queen, but the queen makes the final say and final decisions on everything now. And it's a lot faster. Um, Everybody will be informed on whatever changes are made. And if she feels like having a second opinion, she'll go to the Nocturnal Parliament. And if she feels like she needs a third opinion, she'll go to the people too. Because she's a people person. So she'll do all that stuff. And I'm her stand-in. So whatever I say is basically what she says, and if she don't like what I say, she'll step in and fix it. So that's my job. And of course, I'm the number one law enforcement of Nyx as well as the prime minister. Um, I'm not an elected position. I've been a prime minister for all 8 years. That's how I proclaimed myself. So that was the position I gave myself. We gave We gave Liddell, which is her real name, and then Queen, which is now Queen Breckenridge, we gave her the crown. And then we gave Chelsea, the third founder, the minister of the court of Themis. So that's where she's at. And then I don't know if you knew my name. My name's Austin. I'm the Prime Minister of Nyx. So um let's see. Yeah, Court of Themis is our judicial part. We did have court sessions back then, won a lot. And it was actually over what politicians in Nyx did instead of, a random citizen breaking a law or something. So it's basically just over procedural issues. Um, let's see, yeah. I'm the executive guy. We have a deputy prime minister, which is an elected position. So people can actually have something to do in government, I guess you could say. But he does do something. He's my stand-in in case I'm unavailable. So, and he also represents the people in the Nocturnal Parliament. So people have a elected representative in the Nocturnal Parliament to give advice to the Queen. And then we have a National Constables Bureau, which is our police force. And it is an active one. We are still in talks with the rest of the constables to actually do actual patrols to um citizens of Nyx, not to actually go on their property, but just to drive by their property, making sure they're all groovy or anything. It's a long process because obviously some citizens will rather stay private and some citizens not. And I'm like, that's perfectly fine. Because the people get to choose how they want to be policed, not us. So it's like, okay. So we haven't gotten that far yet, but that's what the constables are. They're our police force. The chief constable is an elected position. We recently just had the election this year. That our chief constable is now Robert Bramall. So I'm pretty sure I updated the website to say his name now, so you should be able to find him. Um, and let's see. Yep, Nocturnal Parliament, Court of Themis. There's nobles in the Nocturnal Parliament now, so basically, if you dedicated yourself for a certain amount of years, you donated a lot of money, you committed yourself in helping Nyx, all that stuff will earn you the title of nobility, and then you'll get to actually participate in the Nocturnal Parliament to give us advice. So we only have one noble so far, but there is a candidate for another noble. So, and I think that's everything in our hybrid monarchy government system. But yeah.
Now, does that house judicial powers as well?
Yes. So in the court of Themis, the queen as well as her ministers are the judges. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Um so the very name Nyx and much of your national symbolism draws from Greek mythology. Nyx as the
Right.
goddess of night, and many places and titles in the queendom are named after figures in her mythological family tree. How does this ancient Greek mythology theme shape the cultural identity of your micronation? And why was it important to you to root the nation's identity in mythology?
Sure. So, um, in a way, we are using Greek mythology uh as a theme for our nation. So we are going to adopt some form of Greek culture into our community, as well as steampunk culture in our society. And I am highly aware that steampunk is a fictional genre, but steampunk does have some realism in it, as in steam technology that actually existed in real life. So, that is how we're going to push for that, to where we'll have a Greek culture and steam technology culture into our communities. Which won't be for a while anyway, of course, because that's something that has to be educated towards the future. But so with it being a theme, it's there to be symbols, it's there to be an artwork that people can have a hobby with or even make a job out of. Um I've actually thought about doing not just me, but I thought about proposing the idea to Her Majesty about doing Greek theaters. I haven't really thought about that before. So doing Greek theaters, maybe post them on YouTube and do get some scripts, make videos, just make a random, I don't know, make a random Greek story or make up a story, make it look like something that would involve in it. And I don't know, it's literally just a random idea. I just thought it on top of my head. I'm like, that actually sounds like a good idea, and I think people would like that. So, um, let's see. Now, what you'll also probably notice is that Nyx, the goddess, and a lot of her children represent a lot. I'm sure it said it on the website too. Represent a lot of negative things. So since it is mythology, we basically just switched them around. So now they're no longer representing very negative things. They are going to represent moderately positive things. So, um, which I don't think I've really gotten that far yet, but I'm getting there. I'm actually working on the Nyx mythology family tree, not for us, but for the Greek mythology itself. We're basically making our own Greek mythology tree, just for fun and just for the theme. So with Nyx on top, of course, and then children all the way down. So not to us though. We're not going to connect ourselves to that. But and then I think I've stated in my video before that we are not promoting or encouraging anyone to worship Greek mythology, but we're not gonna judge you on it either if you end up doing that. So, but that's not how we do things here. But it's basically mainly for theme. Um, is the theme we're going for, like, adopting the colors of some of the gods and goddesses, adopting some symbols that we can use on buildings, such and such. Whatever symbols they use, whatever colors they use, we just bring them all in, and that's basically how we're gonna grow our culture into that to make it look like a Greek steam powered nation that we plan to be.
See, that echoes a lot of the way Haskaria functions, because we have our culture where we are very pro futurist kind of beliefs, and so instead of steampunk, we actually strive for a, a brighter version of cyberpunk kind of thing, like cyberpunk, but not you know dark, grungy, and corporate overlords or that kind of stuff. It's more of like a mix
Oh yeah.
between. It's more of like a mix between green futurism with cyberpunk, like neon buildings and like extreme multi-use buildings. And we also have a our own sort of ideology called Phoenix renewalism, where we believe in like society as a whole should follow the image of the phoenix in death and rebirth kind of scenario. So it's very interesting to hear that you have a system of culture and uh, it's not technically a religion, right? Yours,
No, it's not. It's not. That's not how we're using the Greek mythology,
right?
is to be like a state religion. We're not planning to have a state religion anyway,
Right.
because our current ideology goes against that,
Right.
which is libertarianism, which is not really an American thing. Everybody has it, but we're
Yeah.
we're libertarians, and we don't use the state power to force
Right.
things on others. So, but if you're going to be part of a community, if you're going to be part of a community, you're signing yourself up, and you're willingly like going to adopt our stuff and whatever. So you might not be adopting it immediately, but you plan on adopting it when
Right.
you move in into the community. So that's what we plan on doing.
So it's more of like a cultural theme then, like you kind of stated earlier.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
Right. Um so Nyx's guiding principles emphasize being peaceful, self-reliant, and community-focused. In line with these values, you've championed policies like the Neutral Accords, Declaration of Neutrality to promote conflict-free diplomacy, and taxation without force, meaning citizens support the nation through voluntary contributions rather than mandatory taxes. Could you elaborate on the core values behind the Queendom of Nyx and how they shape initiatives such as your neutrality stance and voluntary taxation model?
Sure. Let's see, the neutral chords. I'm sure you've seen it because I've seen you on X before, or Twitter back then. It was still called Twitter then. It was actually about 3 years ago during the Russian-Ukraine war is when we started making the neutral chords, and the reason for it is because micronations are were divided by whose side you on. You're either on Ukraine and NATO side or you're on Russia side. And I'm just sitting here like, how about they're both wrong and people are dying on both sides? And how about we just don't get into a bunch of arguments? So I made the neutral chords, and the neutral chords is supposed to be basically, you know, it's a not really a treaty, but it's a document to where nations will sign up and they will simply just not talk about the topic, and even if they do, it's like we're not it's basically it's like a commitment to not dedicate your nation's time and effort towards either Ukraine or Russia. That's basically it. You could talk about it, sure, obviously, because we can't stop you for that, but you're committing yourself to not put time and effort into the whole argument and side you're on and what you could do to help either Ukraine or Russia. So they're just staying out of it because I saw the division as and I'm serious about this because I've actually made a video making this statement. I see it as a waste of time on everybody because you're just sitting there screaming Ukraine, Ukraine. You're sitting there screaming Russia, Russia. And I'm like, guys, you're making your own country. Yes, people are dying, but why do you care? So, like, if you're gonna be a real nation, yes, feel bad for the people that are dying. Absolutely, 100%. And if you are financially capable, then donate money to the organizations that are helping them. We're not judging you for that. If you like some people that we know that really hate us for being neutral. Um one of them was like, "We're gonna go to Ukraine. I've been to Kiev, and we're gonna help fight with the Ukrainians." It's like, well, then go. If you're capable of doing that, then just go help Ukraine. We're not gonna stop you. Go. It's like if you can do it, good on you. You're like awesome. Like you're walking to walk. You're not talking to talk. All right, go help them. Good luck. Like we're not gonna judge him on that either. So, but there's a lot of divide in that, and a lot of micronations get dissolved over it. A lot of nations lose friends over it, and I was just sick of seeing the silly divide that everybody that is falling for. Because whenever the American government does something bad, um, or any government really is doing something bad, then everybody just splits up and just goes haywire for no reason. It's like what you could be doing is how you're gonna make your nation better than the two that are at war. That should be the question you should be asking yourself. What is your nation gonna do that will be better than those two fighting? So they're obviously fighting over something. It's like, is your nation gonna do that in the future? Will there be value in it? So you gotta understand your people's wants and needs and their values towards something that the government wants to do. So all that is the neutral chords. Now for the voluntary taxation. Obviously I'm a libertarian by ideology, and we don't believe in mandatory taxation because taxation is theft. Um, but voluntary taxation is a thing because people would be willing to volunteer to pay taxes. Currently, we do have one volunteer taxpayer, believe it or not, that's actually been paying our entire nation for years. Um, and of course, we are getting donations. I'm donating, Queen's donating. Right now, she's in nursing school, so hopefully by next year, more money will be flowing into Nyx so the community can get built up better. Um, yeah, so we have one citizen that's a volunteer taxpayer. Not everybody else has dedicated their time and effort to be voluntary taxpayers either, unfortunately, but can't force them. So just got to go with what we got. But I can understand why is that is because people are not seeing the benefit behind it, even with of all of our notifications. Like, hey, we're doing this, we're doing that. I bought this for that. I bought that for this. Um, but people are just not seeing it because they're too stuck in the world we're trying to leave. So I'm trying to get them to see the community that they could be a part of. Um, but since it's been a long time, we've been around for a long time, and we haven't gotten land yet. Technically, we have land, but we don't have a land for a village, I should say, yet. We don't have a place where people can actually physically move into and then be neighborly and work together. So, and that is the voluntary taxation piece, really. There's really nothing to talk about that one. And of course, we do have a policy to where if you sign up for it, there is a thing, and this is also to ensure that we get funded, is that when you sign up for voluntary taxation, the contract lasts for a year. So you have to give us money for that whole year. And then after that year is over, the contract's done, and then you don't have to pay any more, or you can do it again. So, and there's no like enforcement on, there's no punishment. There's no punishment on, if um if you decide to stop paying taxes after the year is over. So, it's just there will be lectures, talking tos, maybe a visit, maybe just to help you remind that hey, you're still paying taxes according to this contract, so you should, pay money when you can, or do you plan on giving us money when you can, all that stuff, because it's by contract, so they have to do it when they sign it up, and then once that year is over, they don't have to pay it. They can decide it's like, you know what, I need another break of paying tax. Like, okay, cool. So that is the voluntary taxation system we have.
Very interesting. And you also mentioned something that Haskaria also severely faces is a I guess you can call it a population crisis.
Oh, are they?
Yeah,
Or
we have an issue where it's just really hard to get anybody to join a micronation with full commitment, like with the idea of
oh yeah.
like more than just a simple, you know, joining the Discord server and that's all.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, no, I can see it. We hit a population crisis too. I'm pretty sure this is on our website as well. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it should be in our progress reports. And I also put a notification on there. I think it was from either 2020 and 2021, I think. We went from 60 and straight back down to 23. Yeah. But hold on, there was a reason for that. Is because we copied from Ireland about relatives of citizens automatically becoming citizens, and they'll just be given a passport. Um, it's like, well, that number was basically an inflated number because I barely got into contact with all of
Yeah,
them. So, and not a lot of them knew that they were citizens.
right.
So that was an immediate backfire. And so we ended up getting rid of it, and that's why our population went from that and dropped back down to 23.
Understood.
So I think we're at 23 now, but I mean it got up to the 30s and now we're back into 20s, which is fine. Because we can deal with that. But we've been trying to get up, yeah. Like my grandmother who's a citizen, she says, look for younger people. And I'm like, you're right. Because that's true. Young people will definitely join a micronation. They're looking for communities right now. This is the it's sad, but this is the advantage that we should be taking,
Right.
is that if we plan on building a real life physical nation, then yeah, young people it should be what we looking for. But at the same time, you have to make your nation not look like you're recruiting. You have to make it look like, hey, we have better opportunities here. We have jobs here. The jobs can be minuscule, okay? Like you might have a guy working for 1 hour or something, but that 1 hour is gonna put a lot of good things into the nation you're making. Okay, so it won't be a big job, but it'd be something. You're giving young people stuff to do, and you're making them feel like they're in a community, you're giving them opportunity, and you're giving them respect. Those are the major things that young people are looking for right now in America. And yes, I am gonna just go ahead and say I am copying this from somebody. It's a podcast, a guy I watch, and it's true. Um, and he's also a libertarian, so I'm biased. So, but people are lacking respect, community, opportunity, and respect. Or no, I already said respect. What is it? No, purpose. There we go. They're lacking purpose, opportunity, and respect, but they're also lacking community. So if you don't give them any of those, they're going to be self-destructive. So we should look for young people who are hurt and struggling, anything like that, and just try to help them to the best of our ability. And if you feel like maybe your nation would be better for them, then we should bring them in. So, but don't make it, and then it's everything that we fell for this too. When we first started, is that we started looking for people and try to recruit people. Well, see, back then, before I made Nyx, I was running gaming clans and everything, so I know how to recruit people. The only difference is we're not playing games here; we're trying to build another nation.
Right.
So, there's a big difference of what you're trying to do. Because the minute you say you're declaring independence from the United States, that's when everything starts shifting a little bit.
That's the red
So
flags.
yeah. So, and I'm being serious. We are leaving the United States in a way where we're trying to make our own community and be self-sufficient, self-governing, and independent. Um, and we can't just use words. We actually have to show it. So, if we don't show it, then people will not take us seriously. So, and I was told many times that if we end up getting land, people will flock. And I'm starting to see that now. Like I haven't seen it, but I can see it in my head now because of how everything's going in the United States. It's like, you know what? This person is even more right than she was the first time she told me this. Because if we have land now and say, hey, we can start building houses now on this land. There's enough land, people are moving in, we could do this. People will start flocking in because now they know where the place is. They can go to that place, and then they can work on that place now, and then they can live there. So, like, right now, our land is scattered because they're scattered private properties. That is a law where it was actually one of our very first laws. And we, um, I know I'm ranting a bit. I'm sorry if I am,
You're good.
but
Go ahead.
we got this from an April Fool's video, from a YouTube channel called Geography Now. Um, he made a fake nation, completely fake. It was an April Fool's joke. Um, but I think what he didn't realize is that one of the ideas that he used to make up that nation was actually a really good idea. So, and one of those ideas were if you own property, not rent, own property, that land is under the jurisdiction of that nation. So that idea we took from that video, and it works that way. So that's why we have 2,054 acres of land. So, and
I
it's so
actually had a
funny too
question about
because
that. I think that was the next question.
oh yeah, well good. How do we have that land? Well, it's scattered, like I said, and believe it or not, 2,000 of those acres is one property.
In
Yes,
the
yeah, we have a
province of
citizen up in
Eros in Saskatchewan,
yes, that is the province of Arrows in Saskatchewan. Yes.
then you
Yep.
have
So
54.5 roughly across the province of Aries and Kentucky, right?
yep. Yep, and that point 0.5 is everybody else's property, while that 54 is one property.
Nice.
So, yeah. Yeah, so we have two major farms. And we have two major farms, and the rest are just houses with yards. So we are growing stuff. The farm in Aries is growing is raising chickens and ducks. They're growing crops too. I don't remember all the crops they're growing. They're not like big crop farms. They're just like a garden out front. They got tomatoes, blueberries, um, maybe strawberries too. I think they're growing strawberries, blueberries, and tomatoes. And I'm trying to grow stuff over there as well. I have at least 10 acres of land up there. Um, and I plan on utilizing those 10 acres to grow a bigger crop farm. But that also means I got to make time to go there, and it is currently an hour and 30 minutes away from here. So it's a bit of a drive. Unfortunately, that's why I don't drive up there as often, but I do plan on putting in a budget to get all the farming materials and equipment and take them up there and then utilize the land for farming, even if it's for like, I don't know, 5 plots of crops or something. Start out small and then get bigger as time progresses. So that's the goal I'm trying to do right now. And the royal families who I live with, by the way, I live with the royal family. I'm their roommate. Sadly, I don't have a house to myself. I'm trying, but it's America.
Yeah.
Um, so, um, um, and of course, I love living here. I don't know if you can hear them, but the 3 princes are here. The royal family went somewhere. They went bowling. Because they had to. They're part of a bowling league, so they kind of had to go. Um, and their kids are here, and they're playing with toys and the games outside my door right here. Because downstairs is the playroom, as well as my room, of course. So, so obviously, I live on Nyx land. It's just, of course, when on video, it won't look like it because it looks like I'm just some other micronation in a room. So, but no, we definitely have land. I should go to places to other Nixie properties and actually, show people that this is Nyx land, that's Nyx land, this Nyx land. So, but what I really want to show them is land that we're actually going to build on than other people's properties. So that's what I really want. But yeah, no, so that's how we're doing all the Nyx land. If we're gonna try to become a real life, self-sustaining, functioning, independent nation, um, we gotta put in the hard work behind it. It's gonna suck at first because like how we started, you probably seen some of the old videos in my YouTube channel. Of me like writing the laws down and whatever. That was me trying to be more American. We ditched that now. So, um, yeah, I'm gonna have to do a lot of archiving on those videos, but we're going back into the Greek Steam Tech community path that we originally planned for. Um, and we've actually made quite a bit of strides actually ever since we got back on that path. We actually got silver now. We ditched the paper currency. Actually, in fact, I'll show you right now. Here's our silver right here. This is an actual 10-ounce silver bar. And we actually melt metal, and this is an aluminum bar.
At one time,
So,
before the fire took most of Haskaria, we had a smeltery and stuff, but there was a catastrophic fire within Haskaria that caused some problems.
oh no, I'm
Yeah,
sorry to hear that.
it's fine. Um,
Was it caused by the smelter, or was
oh
it
no,
caused
no, no.
by something?
It was electrical.
Oh no,
We
sorry to
lost two
hear that.
citizens in the fire.
Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. All right.
This is about you,
Well,
by
you
the
have
way.
our condolences. Huh?
This is about you. We're not talking about me here.
No, no, but I gotta be realistic about it. You know, so um, yeah, no, that's about it on the land and taxation and citizens part. Any more questions?
Oh yeah.
Because I know you have a list. So
Yeah.
I don't want to rant too much if you have a lot of questions that needs to be answered.
I do want to say though, you mentioned providing jobs and stuff for people. and that brought to mind something that I had thought about for Haskaria that maybe you might be interested in. Um, I've actually thought about setting up kind of like uh aid shelters, like not shelters, but like aid locations where, see, I live in a city, so I can go and set up like in the park or something like that with like toiletries, maybe um one of our cultural festivals, which is called the Feast of the Risen Christ. Um we can actually have that like for an Easter dinner in the park or something like that, or set up like, I call it the Phoenix Guard. It's like a kind of like a humanitarian kind of thing for like homeless people or lower income people to kind of help out. So that was my idea. I had an idea to set up like little care packages. Like if I see a homeless person, I'd put like a little business card in there for Haskaria and pass those out and let people know about it. And later on down the line, invite younger people, or some kind of like a community service kind of thing later on. So if you're interested in that, we can surely talk about it more later and discuss the ideas of it, maybe a joint venture even.
Oh, that sounds like a great idea, actually. I've actually had thoughts of that too, because every time I see a homeless person on my way home, it's like this person could literally be a citizen of Nyx today if I just actually had the power to do it right now. So, and no, I think it's a great idea. I think we should definitely do that. It will take a lot of effort and work. Um, because right now the top projects that we are doing right now, one of them is of course getting me a house. That is, believe it or not, actually one of the projects that money's going towards.
Yeah.
Because I can't express our own culture if I don't have a house. And now the queen could definitely do that, but nursing school and 3 kids, she doesn't have time to do that. So, and of course money.
Yep.
So, but I'm alone with no kids, and you give me a house, and the next day, for some reason, it's gonna look like a castle because I have all that time. So, um, it's exaggeration, but still, I have all that time to actually make that work. So, what's even cooler is that in Kentucky, there is a castle here, and it's turned into a hotel now. It was built in the '60s, but it looks like an actual medieval castle that someone just randomly built. There's a big story behind it. Um, it was put up for sale at one time, but I think they're trying to sell it again. And I'm like, if they ever sell it again, if I see the price tag, I'm going after it. And then I don't have to worry about anything else ever again. Because that land right there would be it. I won't have to expand or nothing. It would be it. So we don't plan on being a big nation anyway. So that would be the best thing ever if we end up getting all that land with a castle on it. That would just make things so much easier. But sadly, that's not how it works. So, um, no, I like that idea. We could definitely do that.
So do you
So,
do you reside in the Aries province within Kentucky and stuff?
yes, we are. Yes, that is where literally all the population lives in. Yes,
I live in Ohio.
except for that one. Oh, nice. Yes, we have an ally in Ohio.
Oh, really?
There's the Begley. Is the Begley Commonwealth. We are good allies with them. Yeah, they actually they haven't contacted us in a very long time, which concerns me. He's active, he's alive, which is good, but I don't know why. I don't know why he hasn't contacted me because we've been a little behind on sending him an aluminum bar, and I was actually planning on giving it to him myself, but I'm struggling to figure out what address he actually lives in because his nation owns like 3 different lands, and one of them was in Kentucky, but I think he lost that one now. So now there's 2 more, and I think they're both in Ohio. I'm trying to figure out which Ohio one is the one I can go to give him his aluminum bar because he gave us $100 to buy $100 worth of soda cans to not only drink, but to melt down into bars. So that was the goal because that was the goal of the trade. And then what we trade him is aluminum bars that can come out of that 100 soda cans. So, and whatever money's left, I think that's how we did it. And whatever money's left that we can't use for the soda cans, it just goes to the treasury as extra money. Because when we get that money, we have to immediately spend it. We can't just keep it. We have to immediately spend it. So, um, so yeah, I'm trying to get in contact with him and give him that aluminum bar because we've been struggling on getting him the aluminum bar because I don't know his address. So it's funny because he'll talk about his address, um, especially when he plans to do meetings and projects, but he won't tell me what it is. He did tell me before, but I don't. But that was when he had a property down here and he lost it. So now I don't. But I don't. I know where I know the general location. I don't know the exact. That's the issue I'm having. So I can't just go up there and attempt to find him. I actually have to find him, hand him the aluminum bar so our trade can continue because we actually have a trade agreement and it hasn't been continued in a while because of us not giving him an aluminum bar. And he's not mad about it either. It's just the fact that we've been trying to get in contact with him, but I guess he's been so busy, he hasn't had time to get back with me. So I'm gonna um eventually call him and try to get that set up. But yeah, yep, we are currently in the Aries province. We have the Poseidon province too, and that one's actually gonna get that one's getting geographically relocated because the only citizen living in there is moving. So, and that's just and relocating an entire province is just easier to do that than make up a whole new one. So, the province of Poseidon is set to be moved to Europe from the Philippines. That's a big move. Um, but Poseidon will actually be um within the area of Spain now in Europe and in the Philippines. So, it's a big move. So, but maybe we'll actually get more people there. So, we'll see. But yeah.
So the next question is Nyx has taken a leading role on the inter-micronational stage by establishing the Nyxian Commonwealth, which we're a part of, um, a voluntary association of sovereign micronations under your queen's symbolic leadership. With its tiered membership system from independent member states to fully integrated provinces of Nyx, allowing varying levels of cooperation, what motivated you to create this Commonwealth, and how does it advance Nick's goals in terms of diplomacy and unity among micronations?
Yeah, so the Nyxian Commonwealth idea, very recent because it was a definite recent reform to the Union State organization that I originally thought of before. So basically what it is that it's a Commonwealth of Nations, but with Nyx as the head, and the goal is since we plan on actually becoming a real life independent self-sufficient nation, micronations can come in not only just to be a number in an organization, they can actually do stuff for themselves and Nyx and actually have Nyx help them out become more real. And what I mean by more real is that what I'm noticing a lot in the micronational community is that micronations are not being taken seriously, and we see why. There's a lot of people that are treating micronations as gaming clans. I am definitely making that comparison. I know because I ran 5 of them. So, and well, when people do that, people start recruiting, they start attacking, they start going to wars and all that stuff. So, um, and and every time someone says they're in a war or something, I'll go on the comment and literally say, "All right, how many people died? What weapons were used? And what do you plan to do?" So it's like, what does your people think? So it's like, what's the war about? So, because people don't just go to war for no reason.
Right.
There's obviously have a reason, but then you have to ask yourself, okay, that's the reason. Is it worth killing? So, is it worth killing over? So, that's the question you have to ask your people, not the government. I always accuse the government for doing bad things than the people, and that includes micronations. Because there has been people of different micronations leaving their micronation over a silly war. So, and I don't want that for people. Like the other micronations that we have in Nyxian Commonwealth. I was even mentioning to the Schuylkill and Pennsylvania Federation about their hockey, international hockey. So they have admitted to me that it's a virtual game, which I have no problem with. But and I don't know if you know this, and I don't know if you're making this transition either. The Queen of Nyx actually doesn't consider itself as a micronation
Yeah.
in the term of sense to where we just call ourselves a simple nation, or to make sense for the size comparison, we would consider ourselves a micro state, which is something that Monaco and Luxembourg and Liechtenstein are called micro states. So, and so that's what we're considered by, but we don't mind micronations, so we're not offended, don't worry. But because we all know what you meant, so it's all good. So, um, we're trying to help the other micronations become like us, in their way. So we proposed to the Hockey Federation to, instead of being inter-micronational, just say international, because the goal is to have a bunch of nations participate in it. So, and if you have micronation on there, well, people are not taking micronationalism seriously anymore. That those days are over. Sealand is still around, but the 60s are gone. So, micronations are not being taken seriously anymore. So, and to fix that, let's call it international, and then we can work our way down to the other nations and start helping them become real. And about becoming real, you're not going to become real tomorrow. The goal of that is when you're becoming real, you have to start slow, which we made the mistake of going too fast. Um, you have to start slow. You got your government, good. All right, we got your government. All right, got your positions. All right, good. Okay, do you have land? No, let's work on that. Okay, it's like, well, I got to get a land to build a village. No, you don't. Get a house. Get a house for yourself. Tell your friends that you're a founder within your nation. Tell them to get a house. Get yourself land. Help yourself out first before helping the rest of the nation. So, obviously, I have financial reasons why I don't have a house yet. So, but if you can do that, then you could worry about getting public land to build a village on. But if you just worry about building a village first, you're not going to help yourself. You're going to be struggling because you'll be too busy saving money for a project that you have to wait to get a lot of money for. So, because everything costs money.
And
Um,
to add on to that, many times land requires collateral as well.
yep,
So it always requires um some sort of possessions for the bank to take away if you default on the loan.
yep. Yep, and then believe it or not, that's actually what Nyx is trying not to have. We're trying not to have any loans at all, and we're gonna pay for the whole thing, so we don't have to worry about any of that. Like literally, let's say we have a village tomorrow, it's all paid off, but the bank has no ownership on it whatsoever. The only thing that'll be attacking us, and I do consider it as an attack because taxation is theft. The only thing that'll be attacking us is property tax. That's the only thing that'll be attacking us. That is the only thing we will actually fight the government on, or Kentucky's government on anyway. So that we actually have to go to Frankfurt to fight that, but that's not a priority right now. So because even if we get the village made, we're gonna be okay with property tax for a while. But at least the Nyx government will be paying for it, and the ones living on the property do not have to pay for it. So if you have a house on a big land, but you don't have to pay the property tax, that's a win-win. That we're the next government's paying the property tax because all we have to do is pay the property tax on the whole land, not the people living there. So,
Ohio's actually been
and
Ohio's been actually proposing here recently to eliminate the property tax.
Oh, in Ohio, or
Yeah, in Ohio,
or
they've been talking about eliminating the property tax.
oh, good, because property taxes for a little bit of a history lesson. Um, Property taxes, I believe. I mean, they've actually been around since the 1600s, but the first state that's done it was Massachusetts, and everybody's copied from Massachusetts since then. So, and um, and it hasn't really been helping. Kentucky adopted it in the 1800s, and the goal for the property tax was to fund schools and whatever. And it's like, and well, ever since income tax became a thing, it's like, well, now you guys are just making extra money. Like, yeah, I can go a whole spiel about every single tax code that we have in the entire US, but that would take too long. But no, property taxes will definitely fight on, because it's like this: if we build a village in our land, we somehow magically get property tax abolished in Kentucky. Um so the next government doesn't actually have to pay for it now. We will officially own everything on that land because of that. Because of course, if you don't pay property taxes, the state's gonna take it. So it's not the bank you have to worry about now. So that gives us two different enemies. Um, Now of course I wouldn't call it a war, but we can. Because technically it is an attack. Um, but when all that's said and done, when people are living there, people will start building jobs there. Like they'll build their own entrepreneurial jobs there. And they'll be like, okay, well, what's the money? I mean, you got to have sales tax, income tax. No, we don't, because we don't plan on using your dollar. We don't plan on using the US dollar at all. Exchanges, maybe, but not the US dollar. No. There's only one currency we plan on using in circulation in our community, and that's the Nyxian drachma. So, which is backed by the silver. So, so for every coin, actually, to show you is this one, and it's still in plastic, believe it or not, because I was actually surprised how small this is. But this is, let's see it. This is 1 gram of silver. That's how tiny it is. I have to keep that in the plastic. I'm afraid I'm gonna, like, I know it's not gonna break, but I'm afraid I am gonna break it if I ever get this out of the plastic. But that is 1 gram of silver. So each coin is backed by this 1 gram of silver. So for one coin, you get 1 gram of silver. So now for this thing, yeah, this was actually a mistake, but it's not a mistake at the same time. This alone is 10 ounces of silver, and this alone is 283 coins worth. So, and I ordered 17 grams of silver. So now we will officially make 300 Nyxian drachma coins, and that will be put into circulation. So, and you can only use it in the Nyxian community. So if anybody is selling stuff in the Nyxian community, use the drachma coin. Now that we will have to mandate on at first, and then let it gradually become normal, and then it's like, all right, we'll lax off a little bit. So that's what we plan on doing. But now exchanges, though, if you have a currency, like, I don't have any drachma coins. How do I get them? I'm glad you asked. I think we went by the silver market price at the time that we made it. So each coin is worth $1.50. So you get us $1.50, $3, whatever money you want to exchange, we'll give you that exact amount of coins. So that is the currency part. But yeah, property tax part, we're fighting that. But since we're using our own currency, no income tax, no business tax, no sales tax, no other tax that involves your money. The only tax we have to fight is property. That's the only one. And in our in our voluntary taxation contracts, there's two ways to tax. Ironically enough, those two ways to tax is property and income. But you get to volunteer on that, so that's why it's better to be able to volunteer on that than it is to be mandated on. So it's like, hey, do you want to donate some of your paycheck to Nyx? Or hey, do you want to uh pay your property out towards the Nyx project? So yeah, ironically enough, the two most hated taxes is the way to tax people. So voluntarily, of course. So, but yeah, that's it on that one.
Nice.
But I think I ranted a little bit more on the off the Nyxian Commonwealth topic. That one's supposed to um, yeah, we're supposed to the goal for that is to help other nations become real like us, and with actual not just in name. I mean, you got the flag good, you got the laws good, you got your way to fund yourself good. Do you have land? No. Work on that. It's like build a village? No. Get a house. Get a house first. It's like, okay, now what? I got a house. Good. Express your nation on your house. Okay, show it off. You can look, regardless of what America thinks, you can fly any flag you want here. Okay, it doesn't matter. You can fly any flag you want. Screw the flag code. I have 3 copies of the flag code right here on my bookshelf. Okay, I read them already. You can fly any flag you want. Okay, so don't even worry about that. You're gonna be fine. So, um, yeah. So eventually, this flag will actually be outside and not inside. So, um, what else I was going with? Yeah. So fly your flag, get a sign saying "Welcome to this" if you want to. That one's perfectly fine. It tells people that you're trying to do something. Um, it's your property. You want to build a wall around it? Go for it. If not, don't. I mean, you do you. Whatever makes you think that this will be good for my nation. All right, then do it then. Um, Now it's like, well, I need people to join it. You want people to join it? Spread awareness. Let people know what you're doing. And of course, obviously, don't just start out with random people. Start out with your friends and family. Do that first. Get your families back in. Not a lot of my family members are on my side, unfortunately, but
Same.
I think it's because I haven't expressed myself enough to my family about it. I'm just now actually starting to do that. Because I've always been shy about my family, about getting criticized by them, but at this point, I don't care now. So, um, because now I can see it. So, but yeah, get your family in, get more friends in. If you got friends that's got friends, you tell them to spread awareness of it. That's how we're getting more citizens. So, some people might say something bad about it. It's like you can't do that to America. It's like, well, you ain't got any better ideas? Because I don't. I have been told many times to run for office. I've been told to run as a judge, Supreme Court justice, mayor, and governor. I've been told that many times to run for those positions. I thought about it many times. Out of all of them, I prefer a judge because no one can fight me if I'm a judge. So that's the best part about that one. But not gonna do that. I could do that. Not gonna do that though, because I already put a lot of effort into this nation building project. So there's no point in me running for office in a nation that's just gonna go downhill as fast as possible. So there's no point. Even if it somehow gets back up, I still have hope for America, but because of how fast it's going downhill, it's better to make the Queendom of Nyx now and let it exist until America somehow magically gets back up on its feet. It's like, hey, we're like the real America again. You guys want to come back? No, maybe about the next 100 years I'll think about it, but no. So, um, but yeah, until America gets back up on its feet, especially getting out of the $38 trillion in debt, nah, it ain't worth it. So, um, yeah, so that's the goal of the Nyxian Commonwealth. Obviously, if you're tier 1, you get full autonomy. I don't think you lose any of your autonomy in any of the tiers anyway. It's just the fact that if you're tier 1, all you have to do is recognize Queen Breckenridge as the head of the Commonwealth, and that's actually it. That's like you're just a member there, and you get to decide entirely how you would help the Commonwealth and Nyx out. Um, Tier 2 is the Compact of Free Association. So similar to what the United States does to Micronesia. Micronesia, I don't think has a military or anything like that, but the US protects them. The US sends care packages to them if they're struggling with stuff and all that stuff. So that's something Nyx can do. And how you do that is we get a compact treaty and you write down anything you want Nyx to help you with. and we'll write down what that requires. So, and that's it. That's tier 2. And so far in the Nyxian Commonwealth, Shadow Metropolis is the only one that's tier 2. Scheikel and Pennsylvania Federation and House of the Herrera are the only tier 1s right now. Everybody else is an observer currently, including Haskaria. So yeah, everyone's an observer right now. So yeah, if you want to know more about the Nyxian Commonwealth tiers, it should be on the website. I've updated the website a lot, so I could not put any links there on accident, but the information on that should be in there. Um so you can look that up and
I believe
decide
it.
what her so
I believe it was on there when I was researching.
yeah.
Um, yeah. Moving
That's
on. Oh, sorry.
no, you're good. And tier 3 is when you fully integrate into Nyx as a province, territory, or client state. So that's what tier 3 is. Um yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
So I know you mentioned this a little bit regarding culture and in general, but the Steampunk Coalition initiative. One especially distinctive project in your nation is the Steampunk Coalition, founded in 2023 by yours truly, or you.
Mm.
I think yours truly means me, but it was made by you.
Yep.
Well, several Nixians, including you, to
Yep.
innovate the Queendom of Nyx into a steampunk like future. This movement
Hmm.
envisions retro-futuristic steam technology and emphasizes free market innovation in areas of education, industry, and transportation. Could you tell us how the Steampunk Coalition is influencing Nyx's development and culture, and what you hope to achieve by infusing steampunk ideals into your nation's future?
Sure. So the Steampunk Coalition, ironically enough, was first founded as and this goes back to what I was talking about having a national assembly. This goes back to that Steampunk Coalition used to be a political party because the word steampunk is an abbreviation, so it's a very long name. Um, and I have that name somewhere, but it's somewhere in the lines of like Steam Trailblazers. Um, oh gosh, yeah, Steam Trailblazers and whatever the rest of the letters were. Um, and then Coalition. So, um, and the reason why the word coalition was on there because some of the names that are part of that abbreviation are actual jobs like engineers and trailblazers, all that stuff. So, and the goal for the Steampunk Coalition was to basically become a political party and what else parties do? Win elections. So, um, and then of course, at that time, I didn't know that political action committees existed, which are PACs. I didn't know that was actually a thing. I've heard of PACs, but I didn't know that's what a PAC was. It's like, oh, I prefer to be a PAC than a party because I'm actually against political parties anyway. So I was just making a party to just get my steampunk culture into things. But it's like, okay, no, I'll prefer to be a PAC. Let's do that, and everybody was cool with it. So we turned it into a PAC instead. And then after discussions in the Queen, and this is when time progressed. This is 2025 now. So as time progressed, the Queen's like, it's like I thought we were already going to do that. What steampunk stuff? Are we? Yeah. Oh, okay. So, so it's like the Steampunk Coalition. It'll definitely still be there. It could definitely be something in Nyx. I just don't know what that will be yet. But obviously, it will definitely improve the steampunk culture in Nyx, as well as the Greek mythological theme and ancient Greek themes that we're going by, because we are planning to copy some things from ancient Greek nations, like the drachma, for example. That was an ancient Greek currency, so now we're adopting that. And we're making coins, so that was a Greek thing to do is make coins. And now we are actually having a national debate right now. It's been delayed for a bit, but and it's not a big priority. It was just a thought that I had in my head, and I proposed it, and the Queen wants people's opinions on it. And that debate is about becoming a triarchy, or a diarchy instead of a monarchy. And basically what that is we're gonna that is a thing we're copying from Sparta, ancient Sparta, where because I actually had no idea about this. Um I didn't know that Sparta was actually ruled by two kings, not just one. So no, Leonidas was not the only king. There was another one. There was another one staying at Sparta while Leonidas went to fight. So because that's actually one of their laws. It's like one has to stay behind, the other one has to go fight. So and I didn't know that diarchy existed. It's like, hold on, a nation can be run by two kings? Huh. Okay. Didn't know that. So I've heard of the word oligarchy, which means government by the few. I take that as a more of a aristocratic or democratic thing, not necessarily a monarchical thing. So I was like, well, why not we become a triarchy since Nyx was founded by three people and not one? Because triarchy would make sense. So I wasn't thinking of becoming king at the time because the reason I became prime minister because I didn't want to be the number one guy. That's literally why I chose prime minister. I didn't want to be the number one person. That's why I gave her the crown. So I chose that. I pulled the George Washington and gave her the crown, and I'll just stick as prime minister. So, but we didn't know that triarchy existed at the time. Um, so it's like, well, I know it's a little late, but maybe we should do that. I could become a king with my own lineages and stuff. And hey, if the three monarchs have specific jobs to do, we can make that happen. It's just an idea. So even if it passes through the people and the queen decides, yeah, let's do that. So it's going to be a transitioning period, not necessarily an instantaneous thing. Um, but ultimately, the decision is on her. So if she thinks that a triarchy is good, we'll do it. If not, she'll say no, and we're moving on. So that's the debate we're having right now with that. And then of course the third monarch, who will also be a queen. Yes, those will be two queens and one king. The one king would be me, and the other two would be the queens. So, and yes, we did have a couple people that were very vocal and against that. Um so, and that's why there's a debate on it. They were very vocal about it too, saying that it will cause the downfall of Nyx and how the corruption thing will work. It's like I know you three are friends, but if you three end up having power, well, one will end up having power, and then one of them will get jealous or some random thing, and one of them will eventually unalive you. So it's like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. So, I doubt that. Um, obviously, that citizen does not know us very well. Um, that's why we have a lot of doubt. I see it. I see where he's coming from, but he doesn't know us very well. For him to make that statement, which I can see I see where he's coming from, but it's not gonna. That's how it's not. That's not how it's gonna end up. But ultimately, it's her decision to decide that whether the people like it or not. Um, So that's the debate we're having. But no, steampunk wise, yeah, I founded it as a party, ends up becoming a pack, and now technically it's basically a cultural booster group, really. Because we're already going for Steam Tech. We've already decided that. So I plan on getting books from Steam what's considered steampunk writers. H.G. Wells, the guy that basically invented the thing. There's people that wrote about steampunk. I've actually recently ordered the Steampunk Bible, it is called, and it's supposed to give you like a whole history of steampunk, how things are, whatever. Now it's like, okay, how you integrated that into Nyx? Okay, well, say we got the big land, right? Well, let's say people just don't feel like walking. It's like, okay, let's look at Nicholas. Let's see, I'm trying to get his name right. He's French. Nicholas Joseph Cognon. He is the one who invented the first car. The first car that is made out of wood with a very large steam boiler and can go 2 miles per hour. So, and the only nation that's used it was actually Napoleon. Napoleon did use it, but um, and it was effective, but it's only really good at pulling up cannons uphill. So it wasn't used as much, so it wasn't as widespread. Um, but it was still a car, still used, and it worked. It was the fact that it worked. So, as of right now, I don't know there's a museum here. I think there is, but there's a museum in France that actually shows that off. So they actually drive it around the main road and such. So it's like, hey, if he can build that, we can build that too. So we don't need fast cars in our small community anyway. So we're gonna have roads. So why not have a very slow car? It's gonna get us places, and we're not 2 miles apart. So going from one block to another block in a wooden cart steam boiler vehicle, that's not a bad idea. I
Yep.
think people will like that. So, and what will that car do? Make jobs. What kind of job? Well, the wood's got to come from somewhere. The metal's got to come from somewhere. The steam boiler guidelines are going to have to come from somewhere. So, because people got to be taught how to handle a steam boiler that big. So, and then of course how to drive it. So you got to do all that stuff. So that's one thing. Transportation, right there, right there, and that's individual transportation. Now, public transportation, trains. We have a citizen making us a train right now, apparently. And no, we didn't even ask him to. And it's going to be diesel powered, according to him. So it's like, you know what? I'm not going to argue. He's going to make a diesel powered train, but the engine is going to be a steam locomotive anyway. It's going to look steam locomotive. I'll take it. I'll take the look than the one being fueled by diesels. I'll take it. I mean, so, and this train will actually transport people and goods across the community. It's not it's not Malazian's train. It's an actual train that will actually transport people and goods across the community. Even if the community is small, what's wrong with having a train? It's working, and if people are not using it for serious stuff, then kids can get on it and treat it as a roller coaster ride. So there's something to use on it.
Right.
Um, let's see, what's another Steam one? Steam power in general. So if there's a water source nearby, or we use charcoal or coal or whatever, then we'll just make steam boilers out of that, and that'll give us a form of electricity. So there's that. A Tesla coil, even we'll go for Tesla coil. Tesla coil counts. Um, believe it or not, the small things that you don't see powering up a community, it can power up a community. Okay, we don't need a big power plant to power up a very small nation. Like, I'm not expecting my nation to be as big as the Vatican. It might be smaller than the Vatican. Um, I'm hoping to be bigger than the Vatican, just so I can boast on it. But because Vatican's only what 60 or 64 acres, that's it. That's all the Vatican. So, I mean, technically, we're bigger than the Vatican now, but in scattered land. So I'm hoping that I would get more land just so I can boast on being bigger than the Vatican, in the form of a village. So let's see. So transportation's done. Electricity's done. What's another thing? Let's see. The looks, Gothic Victorian architectural looks. Obviously the first houses we're gonna build are not gonna look anything like that at all. They're gonna be uh the typical build. They're going to be a typical building, rectangular. The rooms are going to be merged together. Like a ranch house, like a ranch style house. That's basically they're going to be the normal size of that, and how the rooms are going to be like. Because you got to start small, you got to start cheap. So, because if you don't do it, and if you're thinking too big too fast, you're going to spend too much money, and you're going to be struggle. So you got to start slow and build your way up later. It's funny, there's games that exist that teaches you that stuff, but you don't see that in real you don't use that in real life because you don't see that in real life. You just see it as I did this. I want to build a fancy house, but for some reason I keep going into debt because you built the fancy house first. start out with a Start out with a wooden shack first, then build your way up to a fancy house. If you buy too many fancy houses, you're gonna go in debt. Because it takes a lot to take care of a fancy house.
That's what Haskaria is going
And
to
there's
do. Is we're going to build
yeah,
wooden shacks. We call them pop-up houses, pop-up sheds, or something like that. Um,
yeah,
Pop-up cabins. That's what it is. Pop-up cabins. We're just going to
yeah,
build
and
one-room cabins,
yeah,
$10,000 max for one hut, and
yeah,
that's a decent hut and stuff.
Yeah, that's a decent investment. 10,000, that's nothing. That's a down payment for a real house, but you'll still get to live in it, and you'll have a roof, you'll have shelter, you'll have a form of heating or air, and you have a place to stay, live, and eat somewhere. I mean, look, everything. Look, we might have to go back to the primal days of having that one room shack and have a bonfire outside. We might have to go do that if it's the cheapest way. So you just got to understand where's your financial capability is, and what's your and how many dedicated people you have in your citizenry, and get and start working together on, okay, how do we proceed from a shack to a neighborhood. So you just gotta think that through. um no, sheds are perfect. We've actually already thought about this, of just straight up going to a shed dealer or whatever, and just say screw it, just take their whole stock and just throw it on the land. Like, we're literally gonna straight up do that. No, and there's so many of them selling sheds, and I'm like, and there's big sheds. There's these big sheds too, and I'm like, that can house 3 people right there. Divide them into three rooms right there. Done. What about kitchen and food? We'll worry about that later. They have a place to stay and live. If we have to feed them, we'll feed them. Chill out.
Yeah,
It's fine.
Haskaria is going to set up communal kitchens.
Yeah, exactly. Used to. It's so funny because when I call our phase the Jamestown phase. Okay, every single micronation, even the ones that's been around for 79 years, and that's Scheichel. Okay, we're in the Jamestown phase. Okay, we're the walls, the little huts, and it's like, who's feeding who? Some old lady in the middle of the community. All right, well, that lady's feeding all of us. We still get a place to stay. So, or a church. Church can feed us too. So, I mean, we have something. We're not gonna starve all because one person's not gonna cook. Well, here's the thing: if everybody's not cooking, somebody's gonna cook. Like, you're gonna get to that point where I'm tired of not being fed, so I'm cooking myself. Good for you. So, are you gonna feed us? No, because you never fed us. Yeah, but you will though. So, and then because if one person in the group starts cooking, everybody else is gonna start cooking. It's like, you know what? I'll cook too, because nobody else fed me, and I don't feel like feeding others because they haven't fed me. It's like, well, it's because we haven't cooked either. What? Yeah, what? No way. Maybe we should feed each other. You think? So, the group of people, if you're in the community, the individuals are gonna follow by what the group is doing. That's human nature. If one person cooks, everybody else is gonna cook. So that's human nature. So living in little sheds that are actually really good looking, they're not bad. Okay, it's like, well, what if a tornado and hurricane? I've actually been asked this question before. Hurricanes, tornadoes, floods. How do we deal with it? Well, here's the deal: we're a small nation. If we do not have the capability to defend ourselves from the big weather, then of course we will not be dumb enough to not rely on our big neighbor around us. Of course we're gonna go to them. That they have the resource to protect us. Of course we're gonna go to them. I mean, that is the smartest way to do it. But you're your own nation. You just found yourself. Yeah, and there's nations out there that depends on the bigger neighbor to protect their own people. So, no, it's okay to use help from the U.S. to protect your people. It's okay. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. Okay. Um, and like, and even for the military. Well, what about the military? What's the U.S. gonna do? The military, they're not gonna waste their time going after. Oh, well, then again, lately, but they're not gonna waste their time to send a military to a little property that's barely taking anything from the government, other than maybe extra tax money. But other than that, no. So, like, literally, if there's any taxes at all that the individuals have to pay, is the phone bills. I think that's literally it. If my knowledge serves me right, if we had this thing tomorrow, and then but people will still have their phones, are they still paying taxes? Yes, they're gonna still have to pay the sales tax, the phone tax, or whatever the hell they have to pay, and whatever. But that's different. They're paying through a company, and that company's based in the U.S., so of course they're gonna have to pay that tax. So we can't help them with that. So that's something different. If they want to challenge it, then we can go challenge it, but that's not a priority. So, but it's okay to rely on big neighbor. But we do plan on, as a nation, is if our land is big enough, I am copying this from a smaller town that I've actually been to in Kentucky called Muldrow. Muldrow is the Chile of Kentucky. It is very narrow town, right on the Ohio River. They have a very large brick building, and it's not tall, it's wide and long, ironically narrow. So, and that building, it's a brick building, but don't be fooled. Within that brick walls is a steel wall, and that building is their storm shelter. And that building's not moving. Everything else will move. That building won't move. So tornado can hit it, flood can hit it, hurricane can hit it, anything can hit that building and it won't move. So that's a building we plan on building for a storm shelter. But as of right now, it is not a priority, and it's definitely not one of the first buildings that we would make. But if it gets pushed up that way, then it'll get pushed up that way. But at the moment, houses first. We're not even gonna build a wall. Houses first. Worry about a wall later. Okay? Worry. Look, if you want to worry about your privacy so much, build a wall around your house. We're not building a wall around the community. Okay? Just chill out. You're fine. so so there's a lot of things that we can do in a very small nation that everybody can help out each other. I'm trying to think of another issue that they gave up. What about burying people? There is something in the United States that you can do when it comes to burying people, laying them to rest. And that is, depending on your land, of course. Obviously, of course, you can bury the people on the community land. There's nothing wrong with that. They'll still get a headstone. They're being laid to rest properly. Everything's fine. The benefit from that is if we do that while still being recognized as a property to the state of Kentucky, we will now be considered as a cemetery, and cemeteries don't have to pay property tax. So, and so that is the benefit behind that. So that is a plan that we are talking to citizens about. Um, as far as I'm aware, one citizen is considering it on one of on his property, which is considered Nyx land. Um, and just to say it now, it's my parents' land. So if he plans on burying himself on the property, assumably we shouldn't be paying property taxes. Because you'll be buried there, and that'd be a cemetery, and it's a lot cheaper. Oh my god, I worked at a cemetery. Expensive for headstones.
Oh
Very
yeah.
expensive. Headstones, light, all that stuff.
I've had
So
to
it's
have
very expensive.
my family's had to have two here in the past few years, and oh,
Yeah. Now of course I can't talk bad about my job. I'm actually okay with my job. Okay, so management can work up a little bit, but it's a job and it's making me money. I'm actually making quite a bit of money. So, and you know, I can't complain. So, and it's a fun job. It's not too bad. It can be boring at times, but it's not too bad. But regardless of that, yeah, so if we have to end up having a community cemetery, so be it. We'll have a national cemetery. We'll have our own oh, what's that national cemetery called? Is it just called the National Cemetery or something like that? I don't know.
for the United
We'll have our own
States.
national Yeah, it's something about like
Oh,
where all the
Arlington.
um Arlington, that's the one. Yeah, we'll have our own Arlington and just, we'll lay people to rest in that spot, or people can bury their own families on straight up on their property within the land. So you can do that too. So people can do that. There's no problem with it. I mean, in truthfulness, I know it sounds bad, but hear me out. In truthfulness, the person you're burying is dead. They're not going to give you any bad opinion, and they're not going to judge you on where you bury them. It's the fact that he needs to be buried because it's the human tradition. Okay, because the spirit is gone, the flesh is still there, and we don't want the flesh to make it worse for us while it's on the surface, so it has to go. It has to be laid to rest. So, because that's actually the main reasons why people are buried is because the body rots. I'm going a little scientific here. The body rots, and when the body rots, the air, liquids, solids, all that stuff's gonna come out, and it'll not be beneficial to the community. So people need to be buried. He is not gonna the person that's passed on is not gonna judge you on where he's buried. Okay, he's in a better place now. He's not gonna worry about that. So we need to find a spot to bury the person. Okay, give him a proper burial, headstone, whatever's needed. Give him his own little fence border around his plot. Good to go. Everything's fine. You get this. Everybody gets to see him or her every day. Everything's groovy. So that's our cemetery plan.
Haskaria has
Sounds a
something
little
very
more. Yeah,
Haskaria has
it
a
sounds a
very
little
oh,
morbid.
yeah. Haskaria has a very similar plan of we're going to have an imperial cemetery for people with distinguishment like nobility or um various titles. But in general, there's just going to be a cemetery. We actually
Oh
want to
yes.
build an imperial mausoleum called the Halls of Honor or Valor or something like that. And so it's going to be like this long kind of like catacomb, like mausoleum kind of thing. And it's going to house kings, nobles, generals, and that kind of thing.
Yes. When we first started Nyx, we were trying to go for an island because having an island is the best place to be
Oh,
independent.
yeah.
Uh, Now, of course, we all know islands are very pricey. They are like never in the thousands; they're always in the millions. Um, I was asked this question about cemeteries again, but like, well, you're on an island though. You can't really bury anybody on an island. Technically, you can. It depends on how big the island is. But what we plan on copying from is from Aruba, actually, Aruba, where that island is so rocky and it's so rocky in Aruba that you can't bury anybody in. You can't bury anybody in it. So what do people do? Put them in mausoleums. Every family member gets their own mausoleum, or it's a group of family members. So everybody's getting put in a mausoleum. So they're all on the surface, but the mausoleums are built perfectly to where nothing will happen. So, um, if we can't bury people on the land, or if we somehow magically run out of room, which we shouldn't, we'll have mausoleums too. So we'll happily pay for mausoleums for the person that needs it, and people could just be shoved into the mausoleum, and people get to be seen in the mausoleum and everything. So that's what we plan on doing. I don't think we will go for what I call fancy. We won't go for the fancy headstones or mausoleums or stuff like that. It's just for the aspects of like the cheap stuff. We want to make sure we're affording everything properly. And believe it or not everybody actually wants to be have the fancy stuff. It's like they just want to have stuff that'll benefit their life. So, I mean, for, like the queen, for example, it's more like, oh yeah, it'll be cool if I have a fancy headstone, but I don't require it. I mean, even if I'm being honored as the queen anyway, whether I'm alive or dead. So, she doesn't want to do the whole fancy thing. She appreciates it, but she be dead. And like that's the truth. And she told me that. That's the truth. She be dead. I'm not gonna judge you for whatever headstone you'll give me. So that's the truth. So but no, that is cool. That's a cool project to think about. But that's how we will do our cemeteries. Is that everybody is going to be treated equally when you're passed on and buried. So that's how we're doing it.
Yes. So the next question um is digital infrastructure. Um
Mhm.
Digital infrastructure is often key for modern micronations and microstates. What platforms, tools, or technologies does Nyx use, like Discord servers, websites, digital currencies, forums, and how do they shape citizen interaction and governance?
The main one is Facebook because that's actually where I started out at. We have a Facebook group that's where majority of everyone's at. We have a single citizen who is also a president of another micronation. Um, He is on Discord. He doesn't use Facebook. And then on X, I think we have citizens there, but we have a Queendom of Nyx chat room on X. We have one on Facebook. We have one on Discord, and we have two YouTube channels on YouTube. One is the Queendom of Nyx one that I use. The other one is a private one known as, it's not really private, everyone can see it, but it's a privately owned one called Nyx Delta Broadcast. That is owned by one of our only noble. So our noble owns that one. Her name is Countess McGuire. That is her name. So she's a countess, and yeah, she owns Nyx Delta Broadcast. So that means she's the one that's been dedicating most of her time and effort into Nyx, and she actually started the broadcasting and spreading awareness of Nyx first before I made the Queen of Nyx channel, which used to be the talk show channel, but now I changed it to the Queen of Nyx channel because it's just easier that way. Um, which reminds me, I'm actually going to make more videos tonight since I got my new attire, which is actual clothing. I'm actually very glad that it's actual clothing now and not a costume because it was very hard to find these clothes. Um,
It looked great.
so it's yeah, thank you. It's a really nice tailcoat. I like it. Um, yeah, I plan on getting more. So I'm not kidding about the culture thing. That one's
Yeah.
getting pushed a lot. So, um, let's see. Um, what's another thing that we're on? I did at one point. Now, I did this specifically to try to obviously get people to join the Queendom. I did at one point created a Minecraft server for the sole purpose of bringing citizens to Nyx into the real life Nyx, right? Because I'm just making a random server on Minecraft. I didn't care what people were doing on it. I just wanted people to like whoever joins, like, hey, so welcome to the server. You can go that way and do whatever you want, but if you want to, and now of course I have to make sure you're an adult, of course. Um, hey, we're trying to make a real life country. Would you like to join? So it's like, would you be interested in joining or whatever? So, but I gave up on that because it seemed like a lot more. It seemed a lot like recruiting. So, so I didn't want to do that. You definitely have to make that distinction for yourself. The difference between recruiting people into your community and letting people know about your community and letting them join it themselves. So, um, because I have been accused of this before of us being called a cult.
Same.
So we a lot. That's a big major thing that we were told a lot. Because when they hear community, they're thinking cult. When it comes to the digital communications, I think that's everything. We're on Discord, X, Facebook. We do have a locals, but I haven't been on that a lot. We have a Patreon that really needs to be worked on. We're on YouTube. We are attempting to be on Rumble. But it's literally just me doing all those things, so it's a lot to do. So I haven't been on most of them, but we're mainly on Facebook mostly. So
I'll tell you, social media is a
it's
full
helped.
time job.
Oh yes. Yes it is. But it's working, so people are aware of us, and I'm actually mentioning the Queen of Nyx a lot more now. Like in arguments, like for example, if there's a post about the federal government doing something bad or the state government doing something bad, I'll be like, Queendom of Nyx don't do this and here's how, or something along that lines. So I'm actually mentioning the Queendom of Nyx a lot more because we're being serious about starting our own nation. So it's like, hey, Queendom of Nyx doesn't do that. I think our place sounds better. So yeah, so we've been asked about um how does what get funded or all that stuff. It's like, how are you gonna have roads if there's no taxes? I don't know. How do you build a dirt road for horses? It ain't taxes. So, I mean, we're gonna go back to the horse days. I would not mind that. I prefer the horse days in cars. I prefer the Amish life in cars. So, I mean, if you want all honesty, I prefer the Amish life in cars. A lot more peaceful. So, I mean, I'll go horse and carriage. I'm good. So, but yep.
So, you've talked about this next question quite a bit, actually. Culture and media help a nation define itself. In Nyx, what culture, or excuse me, what cultural expressions such as art, festivals, media productions, which you talked quite a bit about, um, and internal traditions have you cultivated? Are there any unique Nyxian holidays, symbols, or stories?
Yeah, so as we started out as a micronation and started acting like a real nation later on, we didn't really make a lot of holidays because at first we were actually against that because this is also a historical thing. The more holidays you have, the less productive your nation will be. And it's not in a sense where like everybody deserves a break. No, it's the fact that um for lack of better words, it's literally distracting to people knowing that what they're working at when their break is over is actually something bad. So when they're done with their many breaks that they have with the holidays, they don't realize that the work they're doing when they get back to work is actually something that will not benefit them in the future. So, and that would be the Roman Empire. Um Roman Empire's done that, Greece has done that, and I maybe the Holy Roman Empire has done that, and that would be the old Germany. So, but let's see what else. But we do have holidays. Halloween is actually a national holiday. We hate the fact that Halloween is not being taken seriously, and we're talking about the, I guess you could say for this sake, the Americanized Halloween is our national holiday. The trick or treating, the costume parties, all that stuff that we consider those to be absolutely fine and then national holiday. The pagan religion version of it, we know the history, we get it, but you know, if we have pagan citizens that want to celebrate it that way, who are we to stop you? Okay, Halloween is literally what everybody takes Halloween as. So if Halloween is a trick or treating costume event, go do it. If Halloween to you is a you're dressing up because you're trying to scare the actual monsters away with you dressing up as a monster, which if I read it correctly, that's how the pagans did it. And was it ancient Ireland? I think I'm getting it right. Um, and that's how they're supposed to do that. Then go do it. We're not gonna stop you. So like treat Halloween your way, and we're gonna have it as a national holiday. And what does a national holiday mean in Nyx? It is an off day for everybody. So it's a national holiday, so everybody gets off that day. So and it's a 1 day event, so everybody's off that 1 day, regardless of what that day is. So that's one. And of course in America we hate the fact that Halloween is not considered an off day. So that's a little bit of a rebelliousness there. Let's see. Another one is Thanksgiving. The queen actually pushed for that one, and the reason why is because um you've seen this too, I'm sure, that the American companies anyway, and I don't think really the government, it's really the companies. The companies are pushing for like when in October, companies are pushing for Christmas stuff as soon as Halloween's over. And there's absolutely no Thanksgiving thing or anything representing Thanksgiving. No, and I'm not talking about the food turkey. I'm talking about the animal turkey. Okay, like, I know they're saying, but I'm talking about like you're not seeing a guy in a turkey suit. You're not seeing cardboard printings of turkeys. Okay, or you want to get historical, you don't see people dressing up as the Pilgrims of the Mayflower. You don't see people dressing up as Native Americans or, doing the handshakes, handing out food to each other. Okay? Or if you want to get more technical, call out the bad history of Thanksgiving. I mean, they were at peace at first and someone messed up and now we're hating each other. So I mean, do that too. That's what Thanksgiving is. It's a history of Thanksgiving. So if you're gonna celebrate Thanksgiving, celebrate all of it. So, um, dress up as a pilgrim, get big turkeys, corn, whatever you need. So, and we hate what America's doing with that. So, I actually came up with a playlist on YouTube. I don't know. I think it's unlisted, as in I have to send you the link to it. Um, and we call it the Queendom of Nyx Thanksgiving playlist. And literally, what's in it is colonial music. Some Civil War songs that are actually like, a little bit of a peaceful and inspirational, regardless of what side it's on. And of course, Native American songs. You gotta have all that. And I was gonna go to a Native American powwow today, but that plan unfortunately changed. Yeah, we all had a bad spell today, believe it or not. I won't get into it, but everybody had a lot of bad spell today, so we couldn't go to the powwow today. But I've been to 2 powwows in my life, right? 2? Or is it 3? 3. I've been to 3 powwows for the first time in my life. What an experience! So I even got myself an actual wooden staff right there, made from a deer antler, and I actually don't know what wood that is actually. A bunch of leather, bunch of fur, everything is genuine there too. All the furs they have are the animals they hunted. So it was really cool. Um, got myself a headband somewhere and I lost it. I don't know where it went. Also got myself a flute that I actually play. And the guy was actually just finished it too when I bought it from him. He actually cried when I bought it. So it was actually really cool. And if I'm correct, the Cherokee and the Navajo were in that one. I don't remember the rest of the tribes that were in that one. But no, so Thanksgiving, yeah, I have a whole playlist for it. So, and okay, what can we do to help Thanksgiving out? Okay, well, maybe that's when our Greek mythology will kick in. What will Greek mythology do with Thanksgiving? All right, well, let's see. Thanksgiving's a family event, so there should be families getting together. All right, fine. Watch this magical paintbrush. I am now drawing a painting of Nyx, the mother, Erebus, the father, all their children gathering together and having a feast. Thanksgiving. So, I mean, literally, you could think anything about Thanksgiving. It's just people don't. So, people putting Christmas lights, showing the colors of Thanksgiving, which is orange. I mean, I know it's a Halloween color too, but it's also orange. Orange, red, yellow, the fall. Thanksgiving also represents the fall season, not just Halloween. So, um, many things on that. So there's that. All that is Thanksgiving alone. So we plan on actually having very fun events for Thanksgiving. Let's see, Halloween, Thanksgiving. Obviously, Christmas is an obvious thing. And I'm not saying that in a religious way. I'm saying because there's literally no reason we would get rid of it or even mandate it. Like that Christmas has become a human tradition for thousands of years now. And not just the Christmas tree part. I'm talking about the Christ part, also the gift giving part, because you don't need a tree to have Christmas, okay? You really don't. The tree is literally a European thing. So, which is not a bad thing either. I'm German, so that originated from Germany. So, um, Christmas trees are good, ornaments are good, lights are good, everything's good. Christmas is an obvious one, obviously. So, New Year's Day, that one's an obvious one because why not celebrate a new year? Um, the royal family's birthdays. That one, those are national holidays as well. The birthday of the queen, birthday of the king, the wedding anniversary for the royal family, and the birthdays of the 3 princes, which is right out there. So those are all national holidays as well. The founding of the Queendom of Nyx Day, which is September 21st, that is also a national holiday, but that's also election day. So did that too. So we only have 2 electable positions now, but those are that's the election day for those 2 positions. So let's see, what's another holiday? Actually, I think that's it. And then in the future, of course, this will also be easier on us if we look up like the Greek gods that we're having in our theatrical Greek mythology tree. If they have festivals that already exist, as something we could integrate into Nyx to see if people would like it or not, or is it worth it, or is it valuable, is it culturally valuable, all that stuff, and we'll see how people will like it as people keep doing it or not. So that is something we can also do for the future. So, now is there any steampunk this relative cultural themes? I actually don't know, to be honest with you, because I don't want to go all out on it because anybody could be considered steampunk or like steam power inventor, right? Because I mean, obviously there's someone that invented the train, but you don't want to celebrate that guy. you'll celebrate his invention, but you don't want to celebrate. You don't have to celebrate the guy. You know what I'm saying? Um, so that one's in the talks too. I haven't really had one on top of my head on how there would be a steampunk holiday if there even is one. So no, other than that, that's about it. Those are our only holidays.
Nice. Um, Haskaria also has, well, we have a lot of holidays. But we don't really believe in like trying to make everybody get off work and stuff for it.
Yeah.
So I haven't really worked too much into the details of what Haskaria considers a national holiday, but it's really interesting to hear your guys' perspective on that. Um, so looking forward 1 to 3 years, what major goals do you guys have for development, whether in community size, infrastructure, diplomacy, economy, or even culture? What metrics or milestones will you use to mark that success?
Well, starting next year in 2026, if our meeting with another real life functioning nation that got in contact with us that I was not expecting, called the Empire of Stomeria, if that meeting goes well with their imperial court, which I will be attending, which will be quite interesting because I'm gonna be talking to about 6 or 7 people, if not 11 people. I don't know where I'm getting 11 from. I think it's a day, but it's quite a bit of people that's gonna be in that meeting. Um, so if that goes well, Nyx and Stomeria will have a good alliance together, and we can actually discuss trade and actual benefits for both our nations in that one. So there's that. Um, helping our Nyxian Commonwealth members become more like Nyx in terms of realism with properties, borders, and flags that you're actually flying and showing off, not just having it as a digital picture. Um, let's see. And of course, more trade agreements. You know, it's like, hey, since you guys are real, here's some drachma coins in case you want to buy stuff within our community if you ever visit. Or trade aluminum and copper that we have that the drachma coins are made out of. They're actually made out of an alloy of aluminum and copper. It's called aluminum bronze. So that is what the coins are going to be made out of. We have not made them yet, and we heard it's actually quite difficult making an alloy. So it'll be our first time doing that. So that's one of them, making aluminum bronze coins. That's gonna be fun, and I know that's gonna require a lot of heat. So we actually have a propane power smelter in the garage that helps out with that. That's actually how we made these bars in the first place. Um, see, because we're always supplied in aluminum, and according to my or according to our nation's treasury, which I'm using not only a realistic cash box for, because having cash is more safer than putting in it digitally. But according to the digital side of our treasury, the budget for buying more copper is ready to go. So I am now prepared to spend Nyx money to buy copper now to make more of those bars, and then we throw both of them back into the smelter and make bronze out of them. So, um, so I gotta plan that. Yeah, so Stamarian Alliance, copper or drachma coins. Hmm. And hopefully by next year, I will definitely get a house, and then I can express our culture a lot more. Um, and because not just our culture, but also our like other goals that we have as well. I don't know if you read them or not. It's one of our campaign goals is where we have like because that's what Germany's doing too. Um, recyclables for very specific things. So every dumpster is in a specific color, and each color represents a specific item that needs to go in there to be either recycled or destroyed. So, and so I plan on doing something similar to that. So, like, say if a lot of people came to visit and they're just using that one trash can, well, guess what? It's my trash can. I have the ways and abilities to clean myself. I will happily dump in my own trash can and separate them and just throw them in where they go and then handle it from there. Okay, so I'm not a major germaphobe. I'll obviously clean myself, but I'm not a germaphobe, so I'm not afraid. So I'll just get in, go do what I gotta do, and then handle it. So there's that. And let's see. And of course, when you have land, depending on what house it is, am I gonna have walls? Am I not gonna have walls? I have to talk to myself about that one. Am I gonna have visits? I probably will, because then I'll have a place, and now people can know where to come and meet me. So for you, for example, you can come by and meet me. I'll happily show everybody my address because I don't care. Everybody. It's funny because everybody is so privacy concerned about your address being seen. Well, there's two things. One, Google Maps already has your address. So anybody can look it up. Second of all, the government also already has your address. So everybody knows where you live. If you all you have to do is look it up. So I know it's sad to say, but it's the truth. So my address will be known to everybody. So whether it's bad or good, people are gonna find me anyway. So um I'll definitely have visits there. Um Definitely flying the flag. So basically get in the house, drachma coins, Sumerian Alliance, um improving culture. Farming. Farming materials for the Aries province. So I'll definitely be running a farm next year, most definitely. Because that's on the budget now. That's actually where some of the money in the treasury is going towards now. Um, and I think it might be it. Other than the constables will actually be able to patrol Nyxian land to check up on people and whatnot. Other than that, I think that might be it. I think next year I'm also going to try to visit every other citizen, including the one in Canada, because he does want us to come see him every now and then, but he's got to realize I got to have a passport to leave the states. So, I had never left the country before, so that's gonna be the first time doing that. And I have no problem doing it. I just don't know the process of doing it because I never done it before. So I got to look that up and figure that out. But hopefully by next year I'll be able to meet every citizen, and get to talk to them more about Nyx. And then other than that, I think that's all I can think of for the future.
Um, Now, this is going to be directed at the queen, um,
All right.
or senior leader, um, which would probably be yourself as the next in line. Um,
Yeah.
so, what has been the most surprising challenge you faced, and what lesson would you share with someone building their own micronation or microstate?
Quite a bit. Um, hmm. That's a very good question because there's actually quite a bit of it. Hmm. I actually have to think on this one because, like, I want to give you one, but I can because as we started, I see all the struggles that everybody else is going through. I went through the same thing. I'm trying to figure out which was the most challenging for Nyx. All right, you know what? I know just the one. The most challenging for Nyx that we had to face, and then we have to realize it. Then, uh, and when you recognize that mistake, that's how you can proceed in being more productive. And that is you're thinking way too big too early. Way too early. If you are just starting now, especially because some micronations did start out with this, if you're starting out, renting out a place, living with family members, that's not a bad thing. But the problem is, if you're starting out as a nation, um, you have to you have to be the one to take the first step on your nation. The good thing is about being the only founder or the first founder, no one's gonna judge you on doing it. So if you want to start a nation, you could be a dictator for a few days, a few months to yourself because you have no one to worry about at the moment but yourself. So worry about yourself for a minute, get a place, help yourself out, and then when you help yourself out, that's when you can start helping other people out. And if you building a nation is helping other people out, and that's when you can start getting a list down on how to build a nation. But when you make that list, don't think too big. We have made that mistake many times. And if you want more honesty, the queen didn't do it, I did. Most of the ideas I came up for Nyx was mainly my idea. Okay. And obviously, I'm not going to like boast about it. It's like, I made this idea. No, I gave this idea out. People liked it. We're going to try it. Problem is, it was too big. So we had to ditch it. So it don't matter if it was my idea or not. If it's too big, we can't do it. So, because it will take too long. Like, for example, saving money to try to buy an island. We're trying to buy an island that's 64 acres that costs 1.2 million. How long is it going to take for you to get 1.2 million with only a few people? Quite a bit. So, actually, at that time, we actually had about 20 people, but how many were committed to donate money to get it? Not a lot. You are going to have people that will be committed, but you're going to also have people that are not committed. And the only way to fix that is to not kick them out, but to show them why they should be committed. So you have to show them how this can benefit them. Okay, because it doesn't revolve around you. It revolves around everybody. So you have to get them to see why this is a good idea. So so we ditched even though it took us like a few years, we ditched the islands, and now we are becoming a continental nation now, as in we're going to be part of the continent now. So, um, so now we're trying to find the simple little acres of land that we could find, and then use it for something. So obviously, we're looking for acres that are by minimum 3 acres at least. That is big enough for a very small community, or a maximum or bigger if we can, depending on our budget. We're only going as high as $100,000. That's it. We're not going any higher. So if there's 10 acres, that's $100,000. We'll take it. We'll put money into it and take it. So because we can at least get the down payment for it and then have it. So because that'll be something. Um, so don't go for the bigger land first, okay? Think small. One of our um I guess I could consider them an ally. It's just we haven't had a treaty about it yet. But a close ally of a that we talked to, uh he was leader of a micronation, but now he ditched it. I tried to get him to become a citizen. He wouldn't come in, and I wasn't gonna force him. Obviously, he wouldn't come in, so he just started to make his own micronation again. And I'm like, okay, of course, I'm gonna be like, okay, fine. If you're gonna become your own nation, let's talk. Let's talk about it. All right, what we doing? It's like I think one of our first projects is to build a military aircraft. Okay, now I'm gonna ask you the question about this one specific military aircraft that he wants his nation to build. Where are you getting the supplies for it? How many people are actually going to work for it? Who are certified, not licensed? I'm actually against licensing, but I'm not against certifications. Okay, you trained, you've done it, you probably paid for the certification too. And if you're certified, you did everything to be certified with a high grade to be able to do stuff. So you're certified, and how many people are building it, and what value does your citizens see it? What value is it there? Why does your people need that military aircraft? Oh, sure, you can want it all you want. Why does your people need it?
Yeah.
Is there somebody that they're gonna bomb with? Is it somebody it's like so the guy told me that well it creates jobs. You're absolutely right. It gets them working and you get to pay them with your currency. Awesome. Problem is the outcome doesn't have a value. You're not at war with anybody. You're not in a state of war. What will be the purpose of the military aircraft? So
There's no
see, you
investment
gotta
to it.
find there's no investment to it. Exactly. You got to find why the people would want to build this aircraft. Sure, there will be people to come in and it's like, yeah, I'm getting paid to build an aircraft, and they'll see that there's no purpose in building this aircraft. They're just there to get a job. Okay, they'll be happy to take the job and get paid for it. And yeah, they're going to definitely say that building this aircraft is silly because there's really no purpose for it. It's just going to sit there and rust because there was no purpose in it. So to give people a purpose and a value for their outcomes, they'll actually see it as a good thing, and then people will start becoming more liking to it, and then maybe it'll become a bigger job. So yeah, so and that's another example of thinking too big too early.
Right.
So if you're planning to start a nation, especially if you're serious about it, actually having real land, real people, real flags, real borders, real trade, real products. Like a garden counts, okay? A garden counts as a farm. It's okay if you have a little garden in the front yard. It counts. You're providing food for yourself, okay? So that counts, okay? So you don't need a big crop farm like we have, okay? I mean, I don't even have access to those farms, okay? I can't do everything I want to those farms I have, okay? All I can do is visit them. Okay, and the only reason for the 10 acres is because they happen to be my parents. That's why I have the 10 acres, okay? So that's the only reason why. I even proposed to them, can I build a village on it? They said no. So that part's already lost. Okay, but I could build a farm. That's something they agreed with. It's like, all right, I'll build a farm then. So I'll build a farm, and people could come in and work on that farm with me. Um, and it's a win-win situation because my parents want to see me a lot. So it's like, all right, fine, I'm bringing friends over. So, um, So, yes, that one is the biggest lesson for everyone, and I see it in every micronation. You are thinking way too big, too early. Don't do it. Think very small. Like the Jamestown phase I was saying. Okay, when the Mayflower came in, that's you. You're the Mayflower. You just now landed into shore. How are you gonna make Jamestown? Are you gonna make Jamestown with a large British regiment and a man of war ship? No, you're gonna make Jamestown with a few huts, uh, uh, maybe a little bonfire to cook food in and whatnot, and a garden to grow some crops, then a wall. See how I did put the wall in last? There's no point of defense. The reason you would have a wall is if you think you're in danger. Okay, Native Americans aren't the only danger. There's wild animals back then too. Wolves existed in the East Coast. Wolves existed. So it wasn't just Native Americans. You have to protect yourselves from the wildlife. Okay, because deers and rabbits hurt your crops too. What's going to stop them? A wall. So a wall will stop animals from coming into your settlements too to eat your food that you need because the seasons are not going to be friendly for you if you're late on growing your crops. So start out with the Jamestown phase. Everybody's in the 8 years in. I'm in the Jamestown phase. Okay, 8 years in. I'm in the Jamestown phase.
I bet
We have all
Jamestown
this stuff.
I bet Jamestown was in
Huh?
the I bet they were in that phase for a long time too.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what people don't think. It's like, yeah, we started with Jamestown and when became Virginia a few years later. A few years? Okay. Let's talk about that few years. There's the other colony called Plymouth. I'm pretty sure that one died. I'm pretty sure that Plymouth is the one that died. I'm trying to remember my history.
Roanoke was the one that
Plymouth, Plymouth
disappeared.
was a big settlement. Yeah, Plymouth was a big settlement. It was further up north in the New England area. Um, Plymouth was a same Jamestown settlement. They ended up dead. I don't remember how. It wasn't Native Americans. It was definitely the weather and everything. They died out because of lack of food, lack of this. They ended up dying that way. It's sad, but that's how it is. Not all settlements are gonna live. Because something went wrong when they were building their settlement. And it's possible, since I actually don't know the reason, I'll have to look up the history again. Um, but it's possible that they might have thought too big, too early, because there was actually like the Pocahontas movie. There's another example too. A Pocahontas movie. They're settling Jamestown. There's that big fat governor guy. Hey, what is the governor guy there for? Gold. What are the settlers there for? A new life. Two different goals.
Yep.
Two different reasons of being there. So, and yes, apparently that guy was settling Jamestown also. Who ultimately won? The settlers that are going to live there, because the governor got sent back. So it's like, we're living in the new world now our way. So they might have had a bad government. They might have had a psychopath that went ballistic. I don't know. I don't know what happened to Plymouth. I don't know what happened to all the settlements on the East Coast. But Jamestown's the one that became the most prosperous and ended up becoming a bigger city. And here comes Virginia. And then more people came because they saw Jamestown's success. And then everybody started moving in and started building more cities. And then later on, colonies. And later on, here we are. So that took years to do.
I was
Like,
getting ready to
what was
say
it?
200. I was getting ready to say 250,
Yeah.
but that's how long since the Declaration of Independence. So it was pretty much like 100 years before that.
Yes, exactly. What is it? 1492, we discovered the Europeans discovered the Americas. And then it wasn't till like 1496 that Spain came in. And then 1500s is when England and France came in. So England and France were late. Spain beat them by a lot. Spain had all of South America, Spain and Portugal. They had all of South America and the western states, and France and England were late. So they got the East Coast. And because they started late, see, there was already knights in the US before England and France came. Because of Spain and Portugal. There were already knights, shining armor, knights in shining armor in the US before England and France came because of Spain and Portugal. Okay, so they're a little late. So they have to start out with peasantry, not with knights. They never saw the New World yet. Okay, so they have no idea what's going on. So they scary to say, but this could be true. People were sent there to test the land out before they send everybody else in. So, and they saw Jamestown's success. So where did everybody else go? They all went to Jamestown before they started settling elsewhere. So, and that's why Jamestown became bigger. And that's why back then, Virginia was today's New York City. Because Virginia was the largest state by population when America was founded. It wasn't New York yet. As time progressed, New York City became the largest city by population, and therefore making New York State the largest city by population or state by population. So population shifts because people will leave one state, go to another. It's just how it is. It could become a government because of jobs, because of food, lack of resource of sorts, anything. But that's the reason. That's the reason why people would do that. And it's human. It's all human. Okay, if your group is not working out for you, go to another one. People join different tribes all the time. So, um, so yes, everybody's in the Jamestown phase, and it's gonna take. I'm sad to say, but you gotta understand it. It takes years to build a nation. Not, actually, no. I'll go further. It'll probably take a decade for you to build a nation. I'm already almost at a decade. So, it might take a decade or even two to build a nation. But if you got the resources to build a nation quicker than we can, utilize it. Okay, Stemeria, for example. I'll give Stemeria another example, and I'm giving them a shout out because I had doubts about Nyx. Okay, I really did. I recently had doubts about Nyx, and after watching the videos of Empire Stemeria, they started out as a micronation, and later on they ditched the term micronation, and then they started showing what they're doing to that makes them a real nation. And that gave me a confidence boost. Because obviously Sealand's doing stuff, but Sealand's not posting videos. It's people that's seen Sealand that's posting videos of it. Sealand doesn't go around and inspires people. So you have to. I was just looking on YouTube one day, found Stemeria. It's like, all right, I'm gonna look these guys up. These guys look cool. Like I took him as a normal micronation, a typical one, right? No, they're realistic as heck. So they even got videos on how to become a nation, all that stuff. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm finding these guys legit, and all of a sudden, here they are contacting me. I was not expecting that at all because they're serious about becoming real, and they even publicly said on video, on one of their videos, that they're not going to talk to anybody and making allies with anyone because of how bad the micronational community has gotten. No one is taking seriously in the commitment of starting a nation. And me and the Emperor Andrew of Stemeria, we talked about that too. Because man, do I have stories. You've probably seen some of them. I have stories about how I've been treated in the micronational community. Oh my! I had to be suspended twice from the Queen or by the Queen, because of those reasons. I had to be suspended. So obviously, I'm still a prime minister, but suspension basically means you're not allowed to talk to anybody on social media regarding Nyx. That's basically what suspension was. So it's not because I was being bad, but it was because um they got under my skin, and I was giving them food basically. So so the Queen got me out of that, and the Queen handled it. And when the Queen handled it, it all stopped. So like, and I asked her what she did. She wouldn't tell me. So I was like, "Hey, how long am I suspended? This long." It's like, "Okay, so give yourself a break. Go play Xbox or something." All right. So that's basically it. That's how it went. Cause we're only human. I'm gonna get mad at somebody and do something wrong, and then I can only hope that I can be forgiven later, so that will go right. Okay, so definitely, especially the Ukraine and Russian war, that a lot of people started hating us so bad for being neutral. I'm just giving them the sad truth about it, and I'm telling them that I love both Ukrainians and Russians. I hate their government. It's their governments that do the wars, not the people. That's all I was saying. So, and you know, people don't want to listen to that. They want to say the Russians want to kill us, Ukrainians want to kill us, and I'm like, whatever. So, that's why I made the neutral chords, like we said when we first started. So, but no, and I know I ranted a bit, but no, that is the biggest lesson. Don't think too big too early. That is the lesson.
Well, the final question is kind of a almost a duplicate, but I'll ask it, and if you want to answer it, I'll let you. But basically, it's if you were to offer one piece of advice to someone thinking about founding a micronation today, drawing from your experience with Nyx, what would it be?
Yep, same answer, but I'll go a little bit further. I'll go a little bit further. It might sound a little biased, but I want you to hear me out. If you're serious about starting a nation, find the serious ones. It's going to be difficult. There's not many. Okay. But I plan on, like the Nyxian Commonwealth, for example, I plan on helping them out. So, anybody in the Nyxian Commonwealth, whether you're an observer or not, I'm going to consider you real because the only reason you be in the Commonwealth right now, because I've already publicly stated this on Twitter, that if you're in this Commonwealth, you're considering yourself real, and I'm going to treat you as such. So that means if you talk about something that might not be considered real, I might attack that. But I'm not going to attack you. I'm going to attack that and then try to help you how to fix that. So, um, if you're just wanting to start out a micronation but don't know how to do it, look up the real ones. Okay, look up the realistic ones, I should say. Look up the realistic ones. Sealand is one of them. You could definitely look up Sealand. No problem with that. Um, I'm gonna be biased again. I don't, and this is just me, so take it with a grain of salt. I don't recommend looking up Malazia or Sojourmanistan or any of those. I don't recommend it. If you want to, go for it, but you'll see why I don't recommend it. So if you can see the reason why, then now you understand. But I don't recommend them. But or especially the Microcon video that they had a while back. I don't forgot what year it was.
Oh yeah.
I think it was like 20. I think it was like 2018. Um, And don't get me wrong, they all look great. And to be frank with you, I actually thought about going there just to show off our nation, but at the same time, it's like, okay, we're showing off our nation, we're actually trying to be real. What are y'all doing? So and so and yeah, when I saw that video, I was like, I actually almost got into a big argument with one of them. One of the actually the ones that talked on the video. I don't know if you've seen that video yet. The woman that was talking in the video, I almost got in a fight with her. I almost got in an argument with her over flags, over my flag. Because they go by the flag vexillology book, okay, about how to make a proper flag. And I'm like, okay. So, but it's a legitimate book, and there's legitimate reasons behind that book too. Because, you know, if it's a tricolor, the flag has to be simple, has to be readable, and it can't like look backwards on the back or something like that. Like it can't have words, it can't have all that stuff, right? Well, mine's got all the above. So it's got all the things that they hate that's in that on that book. Okay. So um so when she saw our flag, oh, she just went off on me over it. And I'm like, no. Like, if we're gonna be a monarchy nation, I would show a flag with with our royal family's coat of arms on it, and that's what's on it. It's the royal family coat of arms. You got the Caucasian eagle, and you got the black magic rose. So I mean, that's what you got, and of course the sword and the axe, and the crown. So I'm showing off the royal family's coat of arms. That's what every monarchy nation does, maybe
Yeah.
except for Britain. Have you seen the British royal family's flag? Okay, that's all lions and crowns. So, and pointing at a specific direction. So, I mean, yeah, so I almost got into an argument with her over flags and it was just so silly. But the book is legit though. I'm actually going to have two different flags. One's going to represent something. Like this one's going to be the state flag. This one's going to be the one you will see 99.99% of the time. The citizenry flag, that's the one you'll see within the community. So this will represent the government of Nyx as well as the nation. Obviously, when you're talking to me, you're going to see this flag. If there's a meeting inside Nyx, you're going to see this flag still. You're going to see it everywhere. If it's a government building, you're going to see this flag. But if you're seeing someone's house, it'll be another flag. Can they fly this flag too? Yes. So, but it's mainly symbolizing that it's a government building and not a normal citizen house. So, but yeah, so I definitely recommend looking us up as a real nation, and we will help you try to figure out how to become a real nation very slowly. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you probably personal questions. Do you own a home? Does your family know? Does your friends know? Does you know? I'm gonna go into your personal life a little bit because you have to know these things to see if you're gonna have help or not. I started off with 3 people, but even if you start out with 3 people with 3 different ideas, working on the same project, that's not easy still. Like we still have to figure things out. But as time progressed, as we're still figuring things out, life has to happen. The life is happening while you're trying to figure out this project.
Right.
Both of the founders are mothers. I'm still a single guy. Okay? Both of the founders are mothers now. So they have a huge life ahead of them now. And Nyx, understandably and rightfully so, Nyx is not as a top priority because family comes first, regardless. So, but they definitely care about the queendom and the people in it. They definitely care about it. They both have told me so. So, and of course, I live with the royal family, so she tells me every day. So, actually, earlier before she left, she asked me how the meeting went. It's like, oh, I haven't had the meeting yet. It's like, get on it. Okay? So, um, and it's the meeting with you. So, yeah, she was telling me because I told her it was going to happen, and it's like, you haven't done it yet? I'm getting there. Yeah, get your jacket on and go. Okay. Um, so yeah, don't think too big too early. Big mistake, and trust me, it's very mentally draining. Very mentally draining. It will make you go insane. I'm already insane as a joke. I'm already insane, but it will make you go completely more insane. Okay, it will actually hurt you.
Right.
Like there were times where I've actually just straight up got depressed over it. I snapped at myself over it. I all that stuff. Like it's gonna mentally drain you, and you'll have to figure out how do we fix this. So you can use history to help you out. You can use micronations that are actually doing a good job to help you out, or you can look up the bigger nations in real life. How do they do it? Okay, like look at the smaller nations. How are they surviving? They're so tiny. Like, all right, well, look up Andorra's history. How did they survive? Look up Monaco. How did they survive? The Vatican, even. I don't consider them a country, but look at the Vatican. The Vatican counts. So, I mean, look at the Vatican. See how they survived. Luxembourg, Liechtenstein, Switzerland, even. Pick a small nation and find how they survive being so small. So, and like so isolated, even. Um, and that's another thing too about isolationism is that first of all, there's no such okay, that's a lie. There is such thing as isolationism, but hear me out about this one. Technically, there isn't such thing as isolationism because humans naturally don't become isolationists. A human is going to interact with another human whether they like it or not. For you to be an isolationist, you have to be 500 feet underground living by yourself. That is the only way. Okay, but every now and then a mining company is going to come and say hello and you're going to interact. So I mean, eventually, so you're going to interact with a human later, but just further down the road. So you're just delayed. Eventually you're going to end up meeting a human. So so if you have to isolate yourself in a sense where I don't want to make alliances yet or recognitions yet or anything. Okay, first of all, don't worry about recognitions because recognitions are gonna work. Recognitions is really and I am gonna copy this for Samaria. It is a waste of time. Um, it is a waste of time. I'm being honest. I've done it too, so I'm not being a
Oh yeah.
hypocrite. I've done recognition treaties too. Okay. We still talk to nations now that we have a recognition treaty with, and there's reasons for it now because they communicate with us still because a lot of them haven't. So they communicate with us still. It's like, all right, we're still talking. Good. All right. And we're planning on trading actual materials and stuff and actually planning to meet physically, do handshakes, pictures even, or actual trade. Like here's an aluminum bar. Can I have 100 soda cans? So, I mean, we actually plan on doing excuse me, plan on actually doing those things. So, yeah, if you're starting out as a new nation, highly recommend you look up the realistic ones like the Queendom of Nyx or the Empire Stemeria. Definitely recommend them too. Very helpful. Um, and Haskaria too, even a little bit since you guys have changed some ways. I've seen some changes. Because when I first met you guys, of course, typical micronation, we were too. Don't feel bad. But when you did your announcements on becoming a little bit more real, oh, you saw me. I was all in on it. I was ready to just step in. It's like, hey, can I become your part of your empire? Oh wait, I'm starting my own country. What am I thinking? Oh man, they started to act like me now for some reason. So, so do that. I don't want to go that far. No, you guys are doing great. No, so I'll definitely step in if people are serious enough to start a real life country. Okay, so like there's 193 countries now. Let's make it 200 with us. Okay? And we don't have and look, here's another thing too. Thinking big too early. What's one of them? One of them is thinking that your mother nation is going to recognize you.
Oh.
No, it's not.
Does Serbia
UK
recognize Kosovo?
exactly my point. Kosovo is one of the very examples of other nations not recognizing another. And why does recognition matter? What do the people of Kosovo think about being recognized? They don't. But because of it, but unfortunately, because of how the unfortunate system works over there, because of them not being recognized a lot, they have to be protected militarily, and they're being attacked at the same time militarily. because of that. Because Serbia thinks Kosovo's as rebels, and the UN thinks them as a country. So it's like, well, there's a problem with that. Two words: foreign intervention. That's the only reason why Kosovo is in that predicament. Foreign intervention. Kosovo could have handled it in their civil war against Serbia. Okay, Yugoslavia's breaking apart was our fault. Okay, or US's fault mainly. Okay, so it was their fault. Okay, so when they broke apart, and then later on in what 2007, Kosovo became a thing, and Serbia was like, no, we don't want that. Okay, let Serbia and Kosovo fight it out. And I get people are dying, but let them fight it out. Eventually, they're going to stop. Either there's going to be a victor or two victors. Okay, so they're going to stop. Okay, and like it, as long as you don't intervene, it's going to eventually stop. Okay, but we intervened, so now it's never ending. So that's why foreign intervention should not be a thing, and that's also why George Washington said the same thing: foreign entanglements. Foreign entanglements. Don't get involved. Especially as a micronation. Especially as a micronation. It's like, well, it's not like we're physically going near. Yeah, but you're talking. Don't get involved in their conversations. Let them fight it out. I see so many micronations having fake civil wars all the time.
Oh
And I
my gosh.
cannot tell you how many I had. Like, I'm not trying to intervene with them. I'm trying to talk to them about why. I'm trying to talk to them about why is it happening, why you're rebelling. Like, I can understand some elections, like Pennsylvania Federation, for example. Okay, and Scheikel. They're both communist nations. That's what they declare themselves, but they're not. I don't see them as the typical communist micronation. Okay, they're not all red banner communists. Okay, Pennsylvania Federation is a black banner communist. Okay, so it's a little different. I know it's just a color change, but it's a little different. They have their version of communism, and it's working for them. And the full name, Jewish Bolshevist Republic of Scheikel, that is the full title of the nation. Okay, that is a Jewish form of communism, and they got the Yiddish language and the Sangheili language. Um, apparently the word Sangheili was real. I thought the same thing. There was a guy that was getting on the leader of the Pennsylvania Federation about using the name Sangheili Union because they were originally called the Holy Sangheili Union. Because they're a federation of states, so they have their own member states within their nation. Um, and they were being accused of using the names of the alien race in Halo. So yeah, I know, right? So I'm like, well, hold on. They said it's real, but I mean, I saw it because that's what I thought of at first, but I didn't think anything of it. It's like, well, hold on, I'm gonna look up. Are these people? Oh, these people actually are real. It's not just the elites. Okay, so I believe them. I believe it. I believe it's real. So the Sangheili people are real, but there's a word difference. There's a different spelling of the word Sangheili than it is on Halo. And that's the one they use. They use the realistic one because he gave me a whole backstory of it. So it's realistic. It's just people didn't see it that way because they saw the Halo elites. So that's what people saw it as. So a lot of that. Um, but yeah, no. Ultimately, don't think too big too early. Don't intervene with other nations' problems, especially micronations. There's no point. No, not worth it. Don't waste your time on mutual recognition because all it is talking and they'll never talk to you again. That's another one. That's another one that I noticed. They'll come to me, get recognized, never hear from them again.
Only had
That means you
one.
just
I've only had, well, technically two real uh recognitionary, like, really good treaties and stuff. One with a nation called the Free Nations of New Athens. Um,
heard.
yep. And
Actually, I think they're one of the ones that hate us. Actually,
oh,
fun
really?
fact.
Okay.
Yeah,
um, And then
We
there's
we
one.
we make yeah, we didn't make a lot of friends. We tried to, but apparently our way of trying to make friends is not it's not friendly towards them, I guess. So
And then there's another one which is I actually interviewed him. That's going to be the first interview that comes up here. It's the Tsarist uh Empire of Kipstania or something like that. They're a uh, they're a group out of Bulgaria.
ooh.
Their tagline is "We're the biggest micronation Bulgaria," and he adds, "but also the only one in Bulgaria."
The only one. Okay. I like that. I like that. See, hey, I mean, what's interesting about especially Eastern Europe is that there's actually a lot more secessionist movements in Eastern Europe than there is in Western Europe. By the same time, Western Europe also has secessionist movements. So I will not be surprised if I see actual secessionist movements in the micronational community. But if you want some a little bit of honesty, as long of course depending on which ones, of course, as long as they're not violent and they're actually trying to peacefully secede from their mother nation, I would prefer them in the micronational community than the typical micronations.
Right.
So because they're actually serious about running a nation. So um and like there's a French speaking community in Sweden that's trying to become their own nation. So think about that. So
Yep.
I mean, it's like what are the French people doing in Sweden? Like, and it's got to get so bad they want to start a new France inside of Sweden. That's interesting. Okay, so of course in Canada you got Quebec, and now you have Alberta.
Yep. And
You have
Saskatchewan.
Alberta, Saskatchewan, and the other western provinces trying to secede from Canada now.
Right.
So Quebec was the obvious one, but no one was anticipating Alberta in them.
No.
So I mean that's even better. Yeah. So none of it, the either province or territory of none of it, was going to do the same thing. But Canada's like, no, no, we can't have that. Here, we'll let you have autonomy and have your own government. So now the First Nation, there we go. The First Nations now actually have full government control over Nunavut, and now they actually can run it their own way instead of the traditional Canadian way. So it's still part of Canada, but now the local people actually gets full control over their stuff than what was the capital again? Ottawa? Yeah, than Ottawa does. So so yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, don't waste time on recognition treaties. Okay, unless you have a written plan to actually do something with it. Okay, don't just put peace and friendship after that, okay? Write down, okay, what are you giving us? What are we giving you? Okay, and this will count too. Are you spreading the word that you exist? I will count that as a fair trade. Okay, spreading awareness that you exist. That's actually one of the compact requirements between us and Shadow Metropolis is to spread awareness of both our nations and both our channels. Okay, so that's one of them. Um, So shout out to Shadow Metropolis. There we go. It exists. If you want to become a citizen of their nation, you can too. They're based somewhere in Louisiana, so that's basically where they're at. Good guy, good nation. I don't know if he's not a miner anymore. But when I first met him, he was a miner. So now he's not a miner anymore. So of course, and this also another thing too. If you're gonna talk to another nation, I highly recommend that you make sure that the person is not a miner. Okay, and it has nothing to
100%.
do with, being a weird guy. I gotta be nice for YouTube because I know where you're gonna post this at. I gotta be nice for YouTube. So you're not gonna be the weird guy. It's not has nothing to do with that. It's the fact that if you're talking to a minor, the minor has no power, whether he thinks he's king or not. The minor has no power. Okay, so um, so obviously if the minor wants to talk to you about recognition trees and such. It's like okay, it's like, are you a minor? Yes. Does your parents know that you're trying to start a brand new country? It's like, yeah, but they don't take me seriously. It's like, well, you're gonna have to wait till you're 18, my guy. I'm sorry. So either convince your parents or wait till you're 18. I'm sorry to say, but minors, you got no power over that. I'm really sorry. I talked to many minors that were in charge of micronations. I talked to many of them, and I straight up told them that your legitimacy, unfortunately, does depend on your age, but not only that, your commitment to the nation. Because as you get older, how do we know, as time progresses, how do we know your nation will still be around when you get to 18? So, and I've seen that. And one of them was the American Empire. Back when we had you're a member of it, I think, of the Multinational Association of the Americas, which the Queen, I don't know if you knew, but the Queendom of Nyx has finally left it. Yes, we have finally left that organization. And we founded it. We were the last founder to leave. So it took us years. I tried to bring it back up. I tried to get people talking, but nope, wasn't happening. And it was mentally draining for me. And the Queen's put her foot down. It's like, nope, we are done with it. So I know you want to keep it, Austin, but no, it's time to go. It's time to get out. Okay. So technically it still exists. Because I tried to dissolve it. I tried to have the vote to dissolve it. Get this. They wanted to keep it. They voted all the people that have not talked about anything for a while. There was only like one nation or two that'll actually talk about their own nation. Because I was trying to get them to just talk about something. Okay. There's only two people that do that, and that's Nyx and oh god, I forgot the other name already. It's a South American nation. They're really good. They're actually serious about their stuff. They got good land down there. Um, and I think it's ruled by a queen. Yeah, I think it's ruled by a queen. Pretty sure it is. Yeah, it's ruled by a queen. And oh, she's fine. She talks about her nation all the time. And she actually shows pictures and whatnot. But everybody else stays quiet. Not a word. Oh, but they're there. They read the messages. They don't say a word though. They don't post anything. They don't chat. Nothing. It's like, am I running a gaming clan or am I running a actual organization? Because to be honest with you, you know actually what is the name of her nation? Ruritania. That's her name. That's her nation's name. The Queen of Ruritania, Anastasia. That's her name, or her title anyway. Queen Anastasia Ruritania. Okay. I did get attacked by her again because I was actually in another organization called ICANN, or like International Community of, I don't know, micronations. So it was an organization of micronations, but this was an international one. Unlike ours, it wasn't necessarily international. It was more hemispheric. So whatever nations were in the Western Hemisphere, from Canada down to Argentina, those are the ones we have in that organization. But I was in that one, and I get attacked for starting a new organization because that organization was first off having you guessed it, civil war, and then and oh, and it gets better. Um and the organization that I made, the people that left that organization came to us, including the bad one. So, and we were letting them in, joining them. It was good at first. Okay, it was all good. Everything was fine until it wasn't. Oh man. Yeah, I don't even know if this guy's honestly alive anymore, honestly. I think he's actually hopping profiles and just trolling, honestly. This guy's like the Kingdom of Orion. I forgot his actual name. His actual name was more known than his nation's name. Um, but yeah, no, the Kingdom of Orion was super bad. And I'm talking uh cornography, a lot of those. Um and he posted a lot of that, and I had to fight that because obviously if you own the Facebook group, I have to fight that literally. Um and oh, what was it? I'm trying to remember all the stuff. I think I have all the oh no, I'm not in that group anymore, so I don't have all of it. So, but well. Yeah, when I left that organization, I ditched everything, so the organization's on its own trying to figure things out. So when the queen said ditch it, she means ditch it. So it's like, okay. So I deleted every document about that organization and just left it to themselves now. So, um, and yeah, a lot of people came, and some of the members in there were trying to start up a new ICANN again, and I'm like, why? It's like, why? It's like there's no point. But it was getting good. It was doing this, and it was actually working until, yeah, until the one nation you disagree with came, right? So I mean, guys, you can, and this is actually our, I wouldn't say, oh man, I don't know if I want to call it an enemy. I guess in a sense it would be considered an enemy. I don't know. Well, it could be technically an enemy, but it's not their fault that they're that form of enemy. And the worst enemy is yes men. We have a lot of yes men in Nyx because they're loving the idea. Problem is, okay, there has to be someone with a problem with that idea. You can't just say yes all because you know me. Okay, you can't just say yes because you're my family member. Okay, first of all, speaking of, I'm not gonna like this everybody, but speaking of family members, if we can disagree on American politics, why can't you disagree with anything in Nyx politics or Nyx community? There has to be something. Because what I'm doing is the same thing I'm doing in my American politics. Like I'm putting some of my American politics into Nyx because I know it will work for Nyx. So how come you're not disagreeing with that, but you can disagree with me outside of Nyx? Like, if you think it's a good idea, come join us. It's like, it's like, join us, help us out. It's like, no, no, no. It's like, I can't do that. I can't do that to America. It's like, then what America's doing for you? Stockholm syndrome. Simple answer. Um, and I'll admit that. So, but yeah, lot of things, a lot of things in the micronational community that's making it very hard for the real ones to be taken seriously.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, so yeah, definitely recommend looking up Nyx. And of course, I'll recommend you also. You're making changes too, so I'm seeing that as well. I haven't done much research. I haven't found. I want to say I subscribed to your YouTube channel. Did you make a new one or is it the same one?
I'm not sure. I can send you the link.
Okay, yeah. Um,
And then I also
yeah,
have a
because
lot of
I've
I have a lot of information on MicroWiki. I couldn't find one for you guys. I didn't know if you had one. Um,
we have a story. We have a story if you like to hear it.
sure.
Okay. The reason why we're now on MicroWiki is because they prevented us.
Really?
We applied. We gave them our stuff. They said no.
Oh, wow.
But you got to understand. You look up MicroWiki. Who is all in there? Everybody that hates us.
Oh,
So yeah, that's why we're not on MicroWiki.
okay.
Yeah, so that's basically the gist of it. And we applied twice in there, and we looked up MicroWiki, and we realized who founded MicroWiki, and it's another micronation, believe it or not. And we found out who that micronation was friends with. It's like, yeah, that explains it. So, so yeah, no, we no. Ever since the Russia-Ukraine war, and just for being neutral, like we're understanding people's dying. I keep bringing that war up, but that's the real reason why micronational community is dying now.
Yeah.
Like seriously, it was already divided anyway over American stuff, but ever since the Russia-Ukraine war, oh, it's dying now. The community's dying now because of that division. It's so dumb. It's dying now. And you know what? I can see it on my Twitter now. I'm on Twitter. I'm barely seeing anybody talk about anything anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have I don't have anybody blocked anymore. I'm actually planning on if I did, I'm planning on unblocking all the people I did block just to see if they're talking. Because I don't see anybody else talking. So it's like I wonder if they're actually gone now.
Yeah.
But I talked to Emperor Andrew about that of Stemeria. He's noticing that too. not a lot of people in the community are talking.
I noticed
So it
that
makes me wonder.
on Reddit,
Yeah, it makes me.
it Reddit has just completely died to just joke and low effort micronations.
Yep. Yeah, and every now and then I'm getting micronations contacting me for like recognition and stuff. It's like, well, let's talk about that first, because I'm gonna ask you some questions. It's like, because we're serious. But if you want to be serious, I can help you with that. So, and yes, I'm biased. Of course, I'm going to lure you in and either join the Nyxian Commonwealth or join Nyx first. Because I believe if you join a realistic nation first, get your bearings in it, then you can go out and make your own nation. Because we're not going to stop you in making your own nation. Because obviously, you're going to have something to disagree with in our nation. If you want to go build your own nation, then go for it. But learn from us first.
Yeah.
Learn what we're doing first. Okay, whether it's from me, Stamaria, Haskaria, Deichel, Pennsylvania, whoever's in the Nyxian Commonwealth, okay, or whoever's in the Stamarian Imperial Court, which is actually quite a few. So, um, learn from them and us before you start making your own nation. Okay, you could do Sealand, you could do Malazia and all them. Um, so yeah, talk to us, get to know us first. I mean, because I offered the compact of free association treaty to everyone. Okay, it that treaty is not asking you to become a province. That treaty is asking you to become more closely related to us. Because like it's like this. We Nyx, we cannot just straight up help you. You want us to help you, you gotta sign a treaty. Not only that we're gonna help you, you gotta help us in return. Okay, and we're not gonna ask for much either. We're not asking for much. Okay, if anything, we want attention. So like, if you give us attention, we'll do that too. Okay, we'll deal with that. At the same time, you got to put effort into building your nation because it's not as easy as you think. Okay, it's not a Minecraft server, even though I built many nations on Minecraft. Um, but it's not that. Okay, it's as easy as that. I wish it was, or I wouldn't be. We would not be doing this meeting right now, honestly, if we were able to do that and bring Minecraft into the world and build stuff easily.
Oh yeah.
Because we'll be too busy. So, um, so no, that's not how the world works. I'm afraid, but um, yeah, talk to us. Join us. If not join us, do a compact of free association treaty so we can help you with that of becoming real one at a time. We're helping Casimira. Casimira's the new nation I was talking about recently about that's who's apparently building a military aircraft. And he's it's funny because every time he says he's doing a project for Casimira, I'm giving him hard questions on purpose.
Yeah.
What's the value behind it? How will it benefit your nation? It's okay. Okay, if it benefits your nation, I recommend doing this and not whatnot. So while everybody else is giving him a praise of good job doing this, doing that, I give him hard questions.
Yep.
So, because if I don't, he won't take it seriously. But I actually don't know if he's taking it seriously or not. Because every time I comment to him, his answer to every comment I gave him was "good point." That's his only answer. It's like, okay, if my thing is a good point, I want to see it. So, and I'm sure he's doing fine. I just hope he is taking my advice, cause I am trying to help him. I'm trying to bring him to the Nyxian Commonwealth too. He said he will join, but he hasn't joined yet. So, I don't know. I don't know what's holding him back. But our deputy prime minister is working, talking to him. So I think they've been friends before we met. The deputy prime minister, cause he was a recent citizen too. He's only been a citizen for about a year or two, I think. So, and he got elected as deputy prime minister. So yeah, and he was a leader of a micronation. I don't know if you knew, we have a few citizens that were leaders of a micronation in our nation. So, the United States of New America, they're dissolved now. Now, what he's doing, he's the one building us the diesel power train and a military tank. I think I forgot to mention that he is building us a. We didn't ask. We did not ask for it. We didn't ask him why. It's like, you know what? You want to donate us a tank? Be my guest. I don't know how. I don't know what we're gonna use it for, but hey, you're the one doing it. We're not. Um, we could put funding into it, but he's telling us that that's not the top project right now. But I also told him that if I were to fund a project that he's doing, it'd be that train. So it'd definitely be that train. I'd like that train. That train will actually be more productive than a tank. Um. Oh no. The president of the Republic of New Czechoslovakia. His nation is still alive, but he's a citizen. And the president of the Begley Commonwealth is also a citizen. So those two nations still exist, but if they ever went disillusioned, well, they're citizens of us, so they can help us out, if nothing more. So, um, yeah, Nick. It's funny too because Demaria, when we did our first meeting, he literally said, he gave me a warning saying if you become friends with Demaria, I'm gonna let you know now. There's a possibility that you'll be criticized, verbally attacked by people because of how Stemeria runs things and all that stuff. And I told him first time because it ain't my first rodeo. I've everything Stemeria went through, and he posts on videos of what he went through. I went through worst of that. Now my nation's older than his by 3 years, so I had 3 more years of experiencing how bad the community was. Oh, it was real bad.
See,
We were accused of being yeah, we were accused of being a cult. We were accused of being fake. We were accused of oh god, what else were we accused of? I can think many things. We're accused of hating Ukrainians. We were accused of being Nazis at one point. It's like, okay, well, our queen is a woman of color, so I don't know how we can be, but okay. Um, so try to fight that. But let's see. We were accused of being racist. Of course not. No, like legit, like starting a real nation. It's not as easy as people think. You're gonna need advice. You're gonna need to watch how other people do it. You're going to need to start thinking realistic things about life. Because if you're gonna start a nation, the first person that's got to do it is you. So um and you're probably going to be by yourself for a year or two, maybe it's possible. But if you need people to help you, talk to them about it. Don't be shy. I'm shy too. Okay, not a lot of my family members agree, but I'm still going to push for it anyway. Okay. I mean, you see what I'm wearing? This is gonna the style of clothing that I'm wearing legitimately is going to be my everyday outfits. I'm trading in my modern days t-shirts and stuff like that for these kinds of outfits. Legit. So, like, I'm being serious in the culture that I'm putting myself in because I actually want to be in that culture. Okay, if I could drive the Steam vehicle or at least a Model T. I'll take those two. I actually like the Model T way better than modern cars. That's just me.
oh yeah.
So, literally because of the style, has nothing to do with engine, horsepower, none of that stuff. It's the style. That's literally the only reason. So I'll take a Model T than my Honda Accord. So, um, but that and look up videos of how it can help you. Okay, like don't look up nation videos. Okay, like say you're gonna grow a garden, don't look up a nation video on how to grow a garden. Look up the gardening videos. Okay, you don't need a big farm. Start a garden. Actually, you know what? I recently just heard in my podcast or in a podcast and there's a person in New York. I think it's in New York. There's a person in New York, and just from that person's front yard alone, it's a New York City front yard, so they're tiny, right? In that person's front yard, that's 80% of his food come from that front yard garden. 80%.
I can believe it.
If you could do Yeah, if you could do that with a very small front yard, 80% of the food you eat from that front yard alone, you'll be fine.
Yep.
You don't need a big farm. You'll be fine. So, okay, start small. Everybody starts out as an I can't speak. Agricultural nation first before you become industrial. That's how everybody does it. Like I said, the Jamestown phase. They started off with a farm first before they decided to put a guy with an anvil in. Okay, so they have to start cutting down trees and make wooden stuff. I know it sounds a little Minecrafty, but that part's technically true.
Yep.
Wooden tools first before stone ones, and before then after stone ones is iron ones. That part's accurate. So, um, no, so that's basically the main advice if you're going to start a brand new nation. Okay, like the Constitution, the form of government, all that stuff is easy. You can get all that done in a day. But now comes the real part you have to do, and that's actually getting off the laptop or the phone, walking out your door. It's like, okay, now I'm out in the real world. What should I do with my nation? So you got to start doing that, okay? Because there's a lot of digital nations too for some reason, but it's like, guys, I don't consider you guys real nations either. Sorry, you have to be real. Okay, I know you're using the digital world as an escape from reality, but reality is going to set in real quick when the digital world suddenly shuts off.
Yep.
So, yeah. So, yeah, that's basically the advice I can give is don't think too big too early. Um look us up, join us even, and then if you like us, stay with us. If you don't, then go make your nation, but take some ideas from us and use it for your own nation. We don't care if you copy our nation. We honestly don't care. We know what we are. If you want to end up copying us for your nation, go for it. The only thing I ask you to do is don't copy the flag. The flag's different, okay? Like literally, I don't care if you end up having another queendom. A random queen is your queen, okay? Don't copy the flag.
Yeah.
That's all I ask. It's just don't flag. I don't care if you're the same government. Okay, I don't care if you stole my name and call yourself Austin. Okay, I don't care. Just don't copy the flag. The flag is the symbol, and I guess in some terms, of the brand of Nyx. Okay, this is our symbol and brand, right? So don't copy the flag. Other than that, do whatever. I don't care if you copy from us. So, oh, and the name can't copy the name either. So. I got the name because that's a different too. So,
I only have one more thing that I want to do, and that's the kind of playing the devil's advocate here. Um,
all right,
I just gonna kind of challenge you on some of the kind of answers that you gave. Um,
all right,
so when you say that you're a queendom, and when you say that you run a monarchy with a dual system, why choose a monarchy over, say, a democracy? Why focus on having a single powerful figure over, say, a council of the people or something, like a full, like, direct democracy or something like that?
sure. So when we were talking about what form of government we should be, and we looked them all up. We looked them up, democracy, communism, even, and we looked up. I mean, we wouldn't be communists anyway, but we looked them up. So we looked up communists, we looked up democracy, republicanism, and all that stuff, and we literally looked it over. And after careful thought, we just chose monarchy. I mean, if for a small nation, if you think about it, if you're starting out small, and this is human nature. If you're starting out really small and you're starting out as a small group, democracy, even for a small group like that, democracy can't work. There has to be a one-man ruler. In every human tribe, there's a chief. Someone's got to be the chief of that small group. So, and we just gave her the crown. Because I pulled the George Washington, didn't want to be the number one guy. Everybody asked me, why can't you just become king? You're the one that thought the idea and all that stuff. Okay, in my history of having five gamer clans that I'm a leader of, and I have brought politics into it where I basically turned those clans into nations. I know I'm that weird. And and because of that history, that's why I chose not to be leader. Okay, because if I was a good leader, those clans would still be existing. So, um and yes, I've had civil wars in those gaming clans. Not because of nations, it's literally because in the clan itself, I've had civil wars and we actually fought in games. And then whatever side won, that's when the people that lost will literally get to choose to either stay or go. So that's literally how it went. So because of that history, and it was very rough history too, because We did a lot. We didn't just play the game. We actually were actually into it. So we were actually having a lot of fun with it. But because of that history, and because I've actually treated them as more than an army, I treated them as more of a nation with an army. Because of that, if I were to become the king, I was afraid at the time to treat it like a gaming clan later. So, because I would, like, as a human, I would definitely end up being a form of a dictator for some reason. Even though I could be the greatest guy with the greatest ideas, I'd be a dictator about it.
You'd be the
So
greatest
that's
person. That's what they tell me.
yeah, yep, exactly. So that's why I chose not to do that, but I chose prime minister, and prime minister was good enough for me. So, and I gave her the crown, and the other one chose to be a minister court person. So that's how it went. Um, so that's why we chose monarchy first. And then, of course, later on, we transitioned to constitutional monarchy because we have a written constitution that you could definitely find. Should be on the website because I'm sure I left the links there. And our laws and our regulations. We have all those. So they're actually being all of them are actually being reviewed right now. As time progressed, we wanted to be more democratic. Like I stated before earlier, we wanted to be a little bit more democratic. We wanted to get more because we ended up getting more people,
Right.
but we want them to feel like they're involved. So we feel like maybe they should get involved in some form of politics one way or another. So let's have them vote on stuff and see what happens. It was good at first, but it went downhill when people stopped voting on anything. So like we started out with monarchy. We wanted to add a little bit of more democracy, but people didn't want it. We had representative elections. We had actually I think that's it. We had a representative elections, and people didn't choose not to vote, forget the vote, and at times there were times where we will have referendums to pass laws and stuff. Not enough people voted for it to pass. So that's why we chose that. Actually, because of that alone, we look back into why we chose monarchy. It's like that reason right there. Here we are, 6 to 7 years in. Because this is our 8th year now. I'm pretty sure we got rid of the National Assembly last year. Um, 6 or 7 years in is why we didn't choose democracy first. So, because of lack of dedication and lack of commitment from the citizens. Obviously, we're committed, but we're not doing enough to get them committed because obviously voting is not going to get them committed.
Right.
So, we have to figure something else out to get them committed before we have anything that be democratically formed. So, but somehow, magically, even though with our short-term democracy style things in our monarchy, we were able to keep 2 electable positions that people would definitely vote for and actually be committed to even participate. And that's Deputy Prime Minister and Chief Constable. So that's why we chose in monarchy. Now the hybrid part really means is that all branches of government, because we did have 3, or actually no, we have 4. We have 4 branches of government because we wanted to have separation of powers. But as we see how National Assembly was like, and how we saw how bureaucratic that we have, how much red tape we even have to go through ourselves in our own nation. And then we look at um the process it takes to get anything done because of it. There was no point of keeping it. See, that was the too big. That was the too big too early part. We had separation of powers too early.
Yeah.
Okay, when Jamestown was founded, the founding fathers weren't making the 3 branches of government. Okay, so that was too big too early, and also they weren't even born yet. So it was too big too early. So we just said, you know what, combine them all together into one branch, and that's the entire royal court. So Nocturnal Parliament, Court of Themis, my office. I'm pretty sure that's everything. And then of course the Constable's Bureau. We have a state office. Now we have symbolic offices, which are offices that are there to look pretty until we actually get people to actually put them in and make them functioning. So that's what they're called, symbolic offices. Those are the offices that we want to have later in the future. So, for various reasons, I think one of them is like a scientific one for government getting involved into actual sciences and whatnot. Um, I think we got rid of the. No, we never built a page for them. Yeah, we never built a page for them. So they don't even have a page for themselves yet. But we do have a document somewhere that talks about what they do. But I don't know if it's on the website or not. But yeah, so that's why we chose monarchy, and now we're in a current debate to see if we're going to become or stay as a monarchy or become a diarchy or triarchy. So that's where we're at with the form of government now. And what was the other question? I forgot what the other question was. Was
I
it
did
just a
too.
monarchy one?
It was basically just trying to challenge you on why you chose a monarchy over a democracy.
Yeah, there's that one. Oh, why is it a queendom? Was that the part of the question? Why is it a queendom?
It was just kind of part of the monarchy system. You've kind of already
Oh,
explained
okay,
why
okay.
it was a queendom, but if you want to go
Yeah,
into
yeah,
more
right.
detail, you can.
It's because we started out with a queen. That's literally why. Okay, if you start out with a king, it's a kingdom. If you started out with a queen, it's a queendom. Okay, so obviously, say for example, heaven forbid, the queen dies and the king becomes in charge. It's not going to be a kingdom. It's still going to be a queendom. Why? It started out with a queen. So that's why we're called a queendom. So that's
Makes
basically it
sense.
on that one.